All right, what's up, THL? We got season 5, week 6, Salty Saturday here tonight. I'm Slimsh as always, and I'm joined with the Anarchist and Ridiculous Hat to co-cast this week.
Greetings, travelers.
And we've got quite the lineup tonight. We're starting off with Super Sam from Team Parallax going up against Crowvan on Team Netherstorm. It's our 1-seed match.
Yeah, it looks like there's a lot going on here. The first series we're seeing here, Netherstorm versus Parallax, is still pretty undecided. There's only been one match played so far.
Yep.
We'll see what happens here. Super Sam both these guys are actually THL veterans, right? How long have they been around, Slumsh?
Oh God, we really need to map out history for this, but Crowvan has been around for it. It feels like both these guys have been around since season 1 at minimum, but I can't say for sure. They've been around a long time.
Yeah, I know Super Sam took last season off, but
Mhm.
from what I heard when he came back, that was a big deal. And
It
Crowvan, I know,
was.
has been playing for quite some time, and he's earned his way up into the 1 seed spot in Netherstorm.
Yeah, Netherstorm's up right now. Yeah, and being halfway through the season, these are not teams in the same division, but points are points, wins are wins, especially if you need them. Although Parallax doesn't really need them, but they'll take whatever more they can get to earn respect for the power rankings.
Well, Parallax right now, they're undefeated, right?
Yeah.
They beat Team Well Met week 1, which we weren't sure about. Hearthstone Academy week 2, which it turns out in retrospect was a big win. Danger
Yep.
Zone, Synergy, and then the much touted Defias Brotherhood. Um, if Netherstorm is able to pick up the win this week, it would be a really, really incredible turnaround story for them over the Titans of Parallax, who are just dominating the Yellow Division.
Yeah. Super Sam's had a fairly successful season. I think he's 3-2 in 5
Yeah,
weeks.
he's 3-2, and he's only lost to Katoda and Hot Asian Girl, so we're talking about THL history right there, only losing to these badass 1 seed to the past.
Yeah. Crowvan took down Hot Asian Girl. So I think Crowvan's gonna be fine. So they're fine. They're in. Super Sam got his mage band. He has Rogue, Shaman, Warrior. Crowvan had the Shaman band. Surprise. Has
Well, Super
Mage,
Sam has
Warlock,
been
Warrior.
really consistent, right? Because Super Sam has banned Shaman every single week.
Yep, some people are in that mode for sure. And you can't blame them too much. It's a very legitimate strategy.
So look at these openers. We got a Pirate Warrior versus Mage match here, and there are two very important things. First, Mage, actually both about Mage. They got a Reno Jax in the opening hand, which is going to make this pretty difficult for Pirate to win. And also, there's a Pyroblast in there, so this tells us this is probably the greedier Solia build, and not the lower curved one, the top set of Alex.
Yeah, so this build of Reno Mage is really great if it should ever find itself against the Warlock, but
Ooh, that's
it
a
could
life tap though for Pirate Warrior.
it could be a liability against a more aggressive deck, but when you draw Reno, that's basically all you need in most cases.
Well, and Reno Mage is all about just like point removal, point removal, point
Yep.
removal, gain 30 life. So it should be able to get that here, but I don't think Sam could ask for a better opening. Turn 1 Finley into life tap, and then he just drew a small time Buccaneer. I expect him to point it out here with Fiery War Axe. Oh, he
Yep.
goes for the Dread Corsair. That's interesting.
Dread Corsair, so he gets the 3/3 rather than the 3/2, I suppose. Either way, it was going to be a 1-mana pirate next turn, probably with life tap.
Yeah, I mean, Ooze sucks either way. And this way you play around Arcane Blast. Or Volcanic Potion, actually. That's probably what he was playing around, right? Because if you go small
Yeah,
time
it's worth
there and you
thinking
get
about.
Volcanic Potion, you get destroyed.
Yeah, it's worth thinking about.
Perhaps.
So lots of options here for 3-mana. It does feel good to get the Ice Block up while you can with Reno in hand.
Yeah, but his
But
hand doesn't do a lot. Would you have considered the Arcane Intellect there?
I don't see why not. Because you can Intellect at any time, or you can Ice Block at any point, plan to get popped, and then probably Reno without dying as long as there's no frothing or anything.
Yeah, I mean, developing Ice Block is kind of this like emotional safety net in a lot of ways,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't feel like it accomplishes much here. And your hand has no 4 drops, and he did have a 5 drop as a Burglary Bully, but he's facing a bunch of 3/3s here. He needs something to deal with those. Even with the Reno, he's still going to be under a decent amount of pressure.
Yeah, Arcane Intellect could have helped dig for one of those. Could have helped dig for maybe Kazakis.
Well, and you could have switched the order. You play the Arcane Intellect last turn, and then the Ice Block this turn. It's the same board state. You just had more options.
Right. Right.
And so at this point, Sam pretty much has the read. There is no Volcanic Potion here. I'm just going to go as wide as I can.
Yeah,
There's
it
not
would have
really going to
been.
be a 5-mana clear.
Yeah, it would have been used. And this is perfect timing right before Blizzard, before Flame Strike.
Yeah, I like Sam's play a lot here.
So
And,
Krovan.
and he was able to squeeze in the life tap. Oh boy. Oh, that's so good.
Well, that's fortunate for Krovan, because Sam definitely knew that it wasn't there the previous turns, because it would have been used to soften the board up rather than the other 3-minute options.
Yeah, I mean, that's just some classic Ronald Mage right there.
The Doomsayer gives Super Sam an interesting predicament. Yeah, he doesn't want to deal with it. He's just going to pop at 1.
I mean, it's a good play, but it's unfortunately not good enough here because we're going to
Wow.
gain 29 life.
If that Volcanic Potion didn't show up,
Yeah,
you
like
would've
it was
had to
actually
think
looking
that-
pretty grim, right?
that this was going to be over even despite the Reno. But even with this Reno, for 29, there is life tap, but
Well,
Krovan
not
has
as it would-
Alex
yeah,
Strasza and Ice Barrier to also help.
Well, what it's going to take here, right, is that Krovan has to close out the game now because every single card in Super Sam's deck is just pure velocity, just pure damage.
Yep,
And he's
and
already taken 10 right off the top.
He's not trading with that Reno.
No.
Sam does have a lot of weapons to get through. No heroic strikes. Yep.
But look at the amount of
It's
damage that Sam has at his disposal, right? Like, you've got another 15 from Reaper 3 swings, right? 1 in play and then 2 in the hand, or
Yeah.
16. And then the Mortal Strike is lethal.
Right. He can even manipulate the Mortal Strike with the life tap, but between the barrier and the counterspell even, that might
Yeah,
put
the
a
counterspell
huge...
is pretty brutal.
Hmm.
What are the outs here?
It's very awkward for Sam now, because he'd probably like to play a minion, but he can't trade with the Reno.
No, that's just a losing play every time, right? But you can't play this first mate. Oh god, yeah. So this has got to be. It was so close, or at least it felt so close.
He's just playing around things like Mirror Entity and here. Otherwise, he would have played the Frothing first every time.
Yeah, that's a good call. But at this point, like, even if you get him below 15, you can just Alex back up. He's got the Pyroblast in hand. He's got so much going on.
Yep.
Very exciting first couple turns, but it just kind of petered out.
Yeah. Now between this... Oh, wow. Just doesn't feel like there's much hope for Sam at this point.
No, this Ooze is kind of greedy, but I guess you just want to develop on the board at the same time, right? Because you're going to trade anyways and just close out the game. Doesn't really matter, I don't think.
Yeah. Oh, Bash. So this is that variant that runs Bash, and I've seen Bloodhoof Brave out of them too.
Yeah, I've seen Bash. A lot of times they're running. This may mean he's not running Leroy. Typically they shave one of the Southsea captains that have become more popular, one Mortal Strike, but a lot of times I see them cutting the Leroy to fit in 2 Bashes. So sad when Pirate Warrior has to trade.
Yeah, and the Bash is going to get eaten up. Sam probably could have figured at this point that it was either Counterspell or maybe Spellbender.
Yeah. Oh man, Kazakus into Berkeley Bully or a 5-mana potion feels unwinnable here for Super Sam.
Yeah, the Pyroblast is always going to be a win, so I think you just Kazakus for armor, although yeah, gain 7 armor. There's no way to get a kill here.
And there's no way to lose here. Did he go for damage?
Might as well draw cards. I hope he took the armor. No, he got the damage.
It's kind of greedy. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. You have the guaranteed win next turn.
I don't think there's ever a way to take 28 damage, so it's probably fine. Because the Arcanet Reaper always has to be a part of that equation. I mean, this cuts off the life tap in case it was Reno Pirate Warrior. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, Super Sam found the right play in the bottom right of the screen.
Yeah.
All right, so that takes away the mage for Krovan. He's got the warlock and the warrior left.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
What
So
would you queue up here?
Warlock and warrior left. Well, Sam was feeling good about the
All
warrior
right, what's
to
up,
lead off
THL?
with.
We got
so
season 5, week 6.
maybe I don't know
Salty
if that's
Saturday.
changed based on the first game. Might just keep queuing up.
Oh boy, switch to the rogue into either warrior or warlock. I guess he was hoping for Reno lock.
Yeah,
So
really
it does
hoping
look like-
because
Hmm.
yeah, it turns out to be Dragon Warrior. So Krovan banned the mage, left the shaman up, which would be very good against pure pirate warrior. So Dragon Warrior is just a bit of a mix-up.
This still this matchup is a lot better for the rogue, but I don't think you could ask for a better opening than what Krovan has here.
Yeah, it's definitely fine for the rogue. They're pretty happy when they see any indication of it being dragons. But yeah, Krovan's got good stuff. He's got the perfect early game minions to eat up the backstabs, and then at that point, the minions that follow will just be unstoppable. And Sam doesn't have any minions of his own yet, at least.
The second backstab does help to kill this 3/3 before it deals like a lot of damage, but you can just coin out a dragon here every time. Or even the Kor'kron would be the worst thing in the world. I'd actually rather go for the Kor'kron, I think, just to get more damage in.
Yeah, just coin out the Kor'kron. Now that both backstabs are gone, there aren't many ways that deal with it.
Yeah, well, and you want to push the damage here, right? Because you can taunt up next turn if he plays a Tomb Pillager.
Yeah, I think the Kor'kron makes a lot of sense. And if there are ways to deal with it, they're probably very awkward, and they require Sam to tank it.
Or
how do you
spend
combo
multiple resources to eviscerate. He can combo off the eviscerate, but it doesn't feel good to do it. Oh god.
Well, he could patch his cold blooded eviscerate, coin, conceal.
He could start going in.
Yeah, just combo the eviscerate this way.
Oh, he's going in. He's going for it.
All right. Yeah, I guess you gotta do something. I mean, cold blood. You can't just hope for it to be a removal. This might just be Sam's best.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're saving it for the combo, right, it's going to do 4 damage to the face, so this at least gets something on the board. And Dragon Warrior, unless they have Blood to Ichor, which has fallen out of favor, or Ravaging Ghoul, which I haven't seen in too many lists, they're going to have difficulty dealing that 1 damage here.
Yeah, so Krovan's just going to take it, and that's fine.
Still really bad for Sam.
He's winning this race big time. Sam,
Uh,
that's what feels bad about these rogue decks when you draw into these things without auctioneer, without questing. I would
It
imagine
happens
it's questing.
it has to be. I mean, I haven't found too many builds that are successful outside of questing. They do exist, and then you get to play SI, but he's just going straight for the jugular here. It sets up lethal.
Oh
next turn.
yeah, the number of mana crystals went down to 0 with that play, so pretty good. No, there's no
First
reason
round.
to swing. Fan into what? Who knows, but you gotta try something. Another eviscerate, maybe?
I mean, there are ways to not lose. There's no way to win here.
No. Yeah, so it's really going poorly for Sam.
Well, it's
Right off the
I don't know
bat.
if I would have switched into Rogue there when there's a 50-50 shot of bringing Warrior. I probably would have run the Shaman if I were him, just because I think that has a decent matchup against both.
Right. Yeah, that's tough. So now, at least Krovan, he's pinned on the Warlock now, so if that's really what Sam wanted with the Rogue, and you can't blame him, he can definitely do that now, and then
Yeah,
maybe
I mean,
he can reverse sweep the Reno Lock. It wouldn't be completely unheard of for Rogue and aggressive decks to do that.
yeah, with Rogue, Shaman, Warrior to sweep a Reno Lock, it's not out of the question. I would say that it's probably unlikely, but not impossible.
Well, Reno's in hand, which is
Yeah.
helpful, but Sam's got the Shaku, and Krovan had Jiraxis in the mulligan, so that's definitely rare that it shines in these matchups.
No, you want to get rid of that card right away.
Yeah.
The Mistress is actually really good on turn 1 here, just because it makes small time so awkward. But I don't think Sam could have asked for a better hand than what he has here, because he has plays on every single turn of the game that are really, really hard for Arena Walk to deal with. And he is looking. It looks like a double coin into a Shaku here, which is pretty
Really?
impressive.
That's pretty. It's interesting for being against a slow deck to go so
Also-
quickly with Shaku, who.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to get a lot of value out of it, right? The Mortal Coil is the only way he gets less than 1 card here, unless he does some other, like a Shadow Bolt. But even
Yeah.
then, you're still getting cards out of it. You're still getting a lot of value, and it protects the small-time Buccaneer. But
Oh,
I really
Frost
like the
Elemental.
idea.
I've seen this deck.
Oh yeah, this is Hoysless.
Nice. Okay, yeah, so Krovan doesn't feel that the Doomsayer is necessary. Maybe this turn to try and stall into something
Doomsayer
else.
dies. Yeah, I don't know if I like this line. I really like the idea of like getting out a Tomb Pillager on 3 and on 4, or on 2 and on 3.
Yeah.
And this just kind of makes that small-time Buccaneer so much less useful.
Right. The small time was always going to be awkward.
Yeah, I mean, if you play it turn 1, right, you're gonna get blown out by the Mistress. Maybe if we had gone turn 1 coin dagger and punched into turn 2 Buccaneer and traded the patches, I think that would have been interesting.
I think you could have just waited.
Yeah, that too.
Just nothing. Turn 1.
Are we renouncing darkness here?
Renounce darkness. So the only thing that will do is I don't think it actually changes the Cabal Chemist. It's tri-class, but does Renounce change it? I don't think so.
That is a very interesting question.
Oh my god.
I don't think so, because it specifically says class cards. Is that a Kazakus he just drew?
It'll change the hero power though. Oh, okay, he's just gonna go with the Doomsayer. That seems a little iffy, maybe.
He has to fade 1 damage.
Yeah. Looks like it's not going to happen.
It's risky, but both backstabs are used already, right? So you know he has to use a resource on it here. So
Yeah.
this is actually kind of awkward for Sam. Anyway, both backstabs was last game. So are you playing into into just a backstab here? I guess you don't have an answer.
Wow, Sam's just gonna play the Pillager out to get the coin.
Really? That can't be right.
Is he going to renounce? Oh, so he attacked first. He got the Darkshire Librarian, which is useless, so he's gonna renounce. Not sure.
Power Overwhelming?
Oh my god, nice hero power.
And it did change the Cabal Chemist.
Ball of
it
spiders.
The Cabal Chemist into a ball of spiders.
Yeah, all right, we did
trap that bad boy out this game. That's gonna get trapped.
We did some Hearthstone science today. So there's no beast in Sam's hand. So Smuggler's Crate. I mean, it's mind games at this point.
Well, okay, so it'll draw a card with Gadget, right? And there will be a point where we go Gadget, Coin, Prep, Ball of Spiders, and then when one of the web spinners dies,
Smuggler's
you get
Crate
Smuggler's Crate. Yeah, you get Smuggler's Crate the beast. You get off the web spinners. The system works, Funch.
The system works.
What would you do in Krovan's position here?
So it wasn't Kazakus last turn, so it's not this turn either, so it's just Ooze MC Tech. I think that's fine. I mean, Ooze is never really going to be that great. Oh, it's kind of funny now that the small time Buccaneer is bad.
Yeah.
But there's no dagger.
Oh yeah, it's actually like really terrible, right? It's just a squire.
It's just a bad card. Oh, we can make a big Edwin now if we ever want to. So
Sometimes
basically, it's an
beast,
Edwin enabler.
Not literally. Yeah.
Well, no Mortal Coils here. Frost Elemental could be the thing to do, but maybe that's something you'd rather save for a big questing. Oh! You found it. I'm not sure what was I'm not sure what was going to happen if we didn't find it.
We're probably gonna run both guys in the Azure Drake.
Yeah, it's just Sun Fury time. Krovan's kind of afraid and just wants to play things with Mana Watts there. Okay.
Wow.
I mean, Tomb Pillager was a fine play, but nope.
I don't know if I love that make 3/1/1s and get milled.
Me neither. Well, it'll take some effort on Krovan's part for the milling to actually happen. He can
just play the 7 mana 6/6 in his hand and wipe the board, right?
Ooh, that seems like a really big reaction.
Yeah, it'd be risky here. You could Shadow Flame the 2/3 if you really wanted to. I mean, the milling the card is not a ton of ancillary value, right? It's a cool play, but it's not a lot of value. But I don't know what other options that we have
Shadow
here.
Flame? Shadow Flame seems so
Yeah.
valuable against Rogue.
Yeah, I don't know if this is where I'd spend the Shadow Flame, but I also don't know what else I would do in Crovan's position, right? Because like
Oh my god.
you're, yeah, there's a
Can
lot
the
going on
Armored
here.
Warhorse win? Oh, well, now Sam, by playing the Ball of Spiders, he got
He got Beast.
Beast. So, Armored Warhorse, you save that for some point.
Well,
Preferably with
are you gonna
Timberwolf.
win the joust though? Like you're against a deck with
Pro-
Jiraxis and with Mountain
you're
Giant.
you're probably not, but the Auctioneers are in the deck still. That counts for something, and both the small times were drawn.
It was really lucky for him to get that Smuggler's Crate in the Warhorse too, because if he wins that joust, that's a second Leroy.
Yeah.
So many.
Yeah, seriously. Is he going in on Edwin this turn?
He has
It's going
to, right?
right into Twisting Nether, but you gotta try something at some point to force the
It's-
issue.
I don't know. I would have been playing Tomb Pillagers every turn.
Yeah.
I don't like how
Rather
we're
than Ball of
valuing.
Spiders.
Well, we're valuing card advantage over tempo here, and Rogue is a tempo deck. And we should be leaning on this Hunter hero power as well, right? He's at 14. Force him to Reno when he doesn't want to, and then throw out 13 powers of charge damage.
Yeah, but I think at the same time, even with this Hunter hero power, Sam's got to put stuff out like Tomb Pillager and like Edwin. He needs to be able to get through taunts to pave the way for Leroy.
Sure, yeah. It's just we could have weaved that in
Yeah,
with
those Tomb
Pillager.
Pillagers could have been sooner.
Yep.
But it definitely is also it definitely is a better meme to have done the other way.
So this is lethal, right? This is Leroy, Coldblood, and Hero Power?
Yeah, Leroy, Coldblood, Hero Power.
What a game. Turns out the beast didn't matter, but...
He became a hunter. Yeah. Well, they were there in spirit. He should have risked the Armored Warhorse here.
I mean, you don't want to tip your hand, let your opponent know what you have.
Krovan played that kind of risky the whole game,
Yeah.
it felt like. Never
Yeah, he
played
was just
the
kinda on the edge.
Kazakis. Yeah, he was living on the edge big time.
So now what? So we're running into the Warlock. I mean, it's either Shaman or Warrior, right? I would probably take the Shaman here, but either one is going to be... Neither one is a particularly disjointed or lopsided matchup.
I think the Shaman is slightly better, and Sam seems to agree.
Is that a Saga, the Slitherer?
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
Well, if that guy ever gets to hit the table, that's bad news. Wow. South Sea
That guy
decking
ever...
with combination of Flame Tongue's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, on turn one, it isn't my favorite, but it's still decent.
Yeah, there's no real reason to be waiting for the weapon because it's just so slow. Well, I mean, this Doomsayer gets dealt with.
Yeah, it gets punished on turn two. Pretty hard.
Yeah, it does its job in soaking up damage, and Peddler's a fine follow-up, but obviously you'd want it to go off if you could. I mean, all things considered, things are really going well for Krovan despite, your Doomsayer, your coin Doomsayer dying.
It seems kind of awkward on the board,
grab
but it
Patches.
turns out he has every answer. Yeah, you patch us here every time, right?
I mean, Squire's a great card, but
It
just
turns
having
out Stone
charge.
Test 4 is
You
fine.
would take Stone Dust 4.
What does he do here? Does he feral? Does he go for it? Oh, he's gonna get so blown out by Hellfire.
Yeah, but that's a turn away, and it's probably his best play. Like, Totem, Spirit Claws. Plus, 3 mana is the best time to overload for Azure Drake.
So, I guess we're probably gonna run out the Shadow Bolt here on the Flame Tongue.
Just to avoid 4 damage the next turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at this
that's
point,
it.
the only nail missing in Sam's coffin. I mean, it's still aggro Shaman. Anything could happen. But if Krovan draws Reno, this game is going to be pretty hard for him to win.
Yeah.
But aggro Shaman does aggro Shaman things. It doesn't ever really feel like it's out of resources, and their minions are above the curve, and they have a lot of burn.
I like this. Sam gets the weapon set up for Azure Drake, knowing that Well, if Ooze is what happens this turn, that's not
Yeah.
a very good turn.
Well, I wouldn't have loved that attack, right? But it's if Ooze
Yeah.
happens, he's not dealing with your board, and if AOE happens, he's not dealing with your weapon. I would have kept that attack back just because it cost you 2 damage for no reason.
I think Sam attacks there because let's see, how does the clock work? If he gets 2 swings in with Azure Drake, he gets swings going into 5 mana, and then the last swing right before 6 mana. So by attacking here, he can try to end the game before Reno, and that 1 damage might make a difference. I think that's his thinking.
Well, it turns out it doesn't matter because he's going to spend all 6 of his mana, and Crovan's going to be dead.
Yep.
What a fortunate series of draws here to get all those burn spells. It's actually completely unwinnable for Crovan, right?
Yeah, he could find armor, but there's nothing that clears the Drake, and at 1 mana you can't get freeze effects. What did he make? Oh, there is freeze. I'm dumb.
Okay. So that's still enough damage, right?
Yeah.
4, 8, yeah.
Big time.
That's 14 damage.
It's a lot. It's 14 damage just from hand.
Yeah, that's kind of insane.
Or no, that would be 13 from hand.
Playing only cards from the right side of the hand to assert dominance and tilt the opponent. Good play. So
you would know about that.
We're 1 game away from the reverse sweep
Wow.
on Crovan's Reno Lock. All that has to happen is Pirate Warrior has to get a busted draw.
Yeah, Reno Lock really does feel like that deck sometimes. That can be limiting. But it's a good deck, so it's always weird in Conquest.
Yeah, I mean, it's been fairly popular this season, right? Super Sam actually brought it every week except this week. And Crovan, this is his 4th week bringing it. I guess Super Sam feels the same way you do about it. Oh, that's Sargoth again. He just wants to come out to play so badly.
He does. Well, you got Kazakus. That's pretty good. And
Alright,
Doomsayer.
so
wow. Okay, this seems hard to lose.
This is a really nice opening.
The Frost Elemental, I just don't get it.
It's over Emperor Thorsan, which is crazy to me.
Oh.
And that steady shot is pretty good here. Yeah.
So do you Doomsayer just to stall whatever else might be around the corner?
Doomsayer is so likely to die if your opponent gets a chance to develop a 2-drop that I think you have to do it. This is so greedy. Because if he plays the Bloodsail Raider here, then it dies to so many things.
Yeah, Doomsayer is really nice because then you just they're not going to kill it because it's a Sir Finley. You take 3 damage between the Finley and the Hero Power, and then you just heal that back up, and you have a 3/3. But now, like, what do? Do you play Doomsayer?
I mean, you play Earthenring Farseer, and you're real sad about it because you're gaining 3 life and it's going to get dealt with so easily. Yeah. And actually, the frothing's going to be a big problem.
Yeah. So now it's just a question of, okay, now when does the Doomsayer slip in, and what is he doing? Because you'd like to play Kazakus next turn.
I don't think you can Doomsayer anymore. I think he missed his
upgrade?
chance.
Oh, he's going to upgrade to make it huge.
Oh, he's going to upgrade and make a really, really big frothing? That's kind of bold. I like it. Like, with no weapon in hand, it also enables the cultist next turn, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. It forces a Shadow Bolt on turn 4, which is not ideal. You'd be pretty happy to do it, but...
Well, they have to have the Shadow Bolt, right? There's only the one card that answers.
Ooh, wait,
you can Blast Crystal.
I would have liked Kazakus to find the 5-mana spell.
You slam Kazakus there every time.
Yeah, to find either the AoE or the 5 damage, or I don't know, like freeze armor.
I don't like that play at all.
No, this Doomsayer will absorb the frothing, which is something, but not really.
Would you have made the same play as Sam there? I think I would have gone for the Kor'kron into the Arcanite so that you can upgrade the Arcanite Reaper. Maybe that's just greedy.
It might be.
But I think the 2/3 here is going to limit you from being able to develop that Arcanite Reaper for 2 more turns or you give up value.
It might be a little greedy. Oh, do you believe? No. The MC tech could have been amazing, but
it can't be the right play, but it would have been amazing.
no. Bloodsail Corsair accomplishes
I
something
mean,
there.
it's a 1-mana 1/2 that gains you 2 life.
Uh-huh.
All right, Sam doing some good sequencing here, not attacking with the weapon first.
I think you swing the weapon in just to avoid Shadow Flame nonsense.
Yeah. Well, it's because you have almost certain lethal next turn, and we're once again turn 5. Reno would never get a chance to play here.
Reno would never get a chance, so let's see if MC Tech can help. Would have had to take the captain. Captain
We
would have
do
been
get to
amazing.
taunt up here, but does that matter?
Yeah. Well, there is a world where
Reno has to be the top card, right?
yeah, like even Kazakus into a 1-mana AoE potion won't do it, I don't think, because they'll just be too low for the follow-up Arcanite Reaper.
Yeah,
swing.
we're 2 damage off lethal with Kor'kron Elite hero power here.
Yeah. Is it Kor'kron Elite hero power, or is it just Arcanite Reaper? Kor'kron Elite hero power is better against Reno.
Well, that's the only way you lose here, right?
Yeah.
And you also get to stop him from tapping if you trade. Please.
Oh, he's gonna protect the captain.
No, you have to go face there. You don't want him to tap.
Well, a tap could never really mean much.
Yeah, I guess not.
So it has to be Kazakus into a 1-mana potion, which deals 2 damage AoE and 3 damage single target.
It has to be. It
or
has
you
to be
can take
2
armor.
damage and then, or it could be freeze.
Could be 2 damage and armor also, because then you've negated the pirate at least. But Arcanite Reaper is going to complete the reverse sweep. Wow.
Oh man. Well, you saw it coming.
Yeah. This can happen, Arena Lock. I think.
Wow.
I think the game against the Rogue was playing slightly risky, and this one was super risky.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There were some lines of Sam's that I was a little shaky on, like that double coin Shaku. I guess he lost that game. It turns out he targeted the Reno lock. The answer is kill them on turn 5, so they can't Reno.
Mm-hmm. Well, all right. So Parallax is back on the board now. They will definitely thank Sam for that win.
And that's going to bring Sam as well to 4-2 on the season. Pretty strong performance overall in the 1 seed.
Sam's pretty solid.
Tough loss for Krovan too. I think Netherstorm was really counting on him to bring this home. That's going to bring him to 2-4 on the season.
Yeah, people looked at this match thinking that Sam would be favored as the more known 1 seed, the 500 PR, etc., etc.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of advantages here, right? And Krovan is at a 439. 60 PR, it doesn't mean everything, but it means something.
Yeah, Krovan nearly got there. Anyway, next up we have, and they're already preparing, we have Loch Ness H from Temporal Legends going up against Troy McClure. And this is Troy's first time on Salty Saturday from Team Swagaway. And Team Swagaway is up 12-4 so far.
It's been a really, really strong week for Swagaway, and really just kind of, it's a tough one for Temporal Legends, who is really just about 500 on the season. The only way for Temporal Legends to not lose this week is if this match is a sweep and their 5-seed match is a sweep. If they get double sweep, it'll be 12-12. Otherwise, it's locked in, guaranteed a win for Swagaway.
Yeah, it's really hard to lose it from here. And I mean, Swagaway, they're gonna get all the points they can get, because I don't know how realistic their playoff run is at this point, being at the bottom in the blue division, and having already played some of the teams that are higher up, I believe. But you might as well just try to do the best you can.
Well, and I think as a new team, right, you just want to prove that you belong in the league. There's something to be said for pride, especially the first season.
Yeah.
And so it looks like the band Loch Ness has banned Shaman every week except one, and it looks like I would expect him to ban it again. If you're Troy, what do you ban here? His ban history is 2 druids, 2 warriors, and a priest. He's never banned Shaman.
Yeah, he's been shy to ban Shaman up until this point, which is kind of interesting because Troy brought Mage, which you would typically associate with Reno Mage. The main reason to bring Reno Mage is its dominance against Shaman, which might suggest something different going on for Troy.
Yep. Well,
So we'll have
and
to
we
see.
got word from C. Parker that they both banned Shaman. They both have identical lineups, so we'll be seeing Mage, Warlock, and Warrior. Q order is going to be really hard to nail down here because they both have the same classes, if not necessarily the same decks.
Yeah, and as far as Warrior goes, I think they might be pigeonholed into playing an aggressive variant because Control Warrior would never have a place against Mage or Reno Lock, really.
As yeah, like the both those matchups have been hotly debated, but I think there's a reason why you don't see a lot of Control Warrior on ladder these days, and part of that is the resurgence of mid Jade Shaman. They both ban Shaman, but against Reno Mage, it's really really hard to win in fatigue when they get to put so many more cards in their deck than you do, and Reno Lock generally is advantage just because of the rise of Jiraxis. He was out of list for about a week, and then people realized that was dumb, and they put him back in.
Haha, yeah. I don't know that they'll be playing it tonight because it's kind of hard. You want combo for the mirror. You want a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, I could see the lineups going any way. It's which build of mage do you like right now? The two Reno mages I've seen, you got the solely a Pyroblast build, and then you've got the one that's more value focused. You have your Burglary Bullies and the 5 drops, and sometimes you have Ethereal Conjurers or Kabbalah Stones.
I like the value-based ones. You can even sneak Antonius and Alexstrasza in those types even. You don't
Oh
need to
yeah,
go
you
too
gotta have
heavy on
those.
Solia or Pyroblast. You just kind of make it work. I like the value-based ones.
Yep, I agree. There has been a weird amount of Jade Druid both in some conquest formats and on ladder, and the value based build cannot ever win that matchup. But sometimes you can get lucky with the Pyroblast build and just burn them out.
Yeah, it's tough for the value-based builds. You kind of have to hit all your beefy minions and just beat them up.
Oh boy,
And
we got a Reno Mage Mirror. Look at these hands.
oh, Loch Ness doesn't have Spectate on.
So it's from what I actually can see them both.
Oh, never mind. I never exited the past one, so I've been wasting my time here.
Well, so I will ask you a question. Loch Ness is on the coin and kept Arcane Intellect. Do you play for fatigue starting early in this match, or do you want the value of the early AI?
I would play Arcane Intellect if I had no other play. And yeah, you could probably seek to keep it if you've got like the burn style. You can try to force the issue.
And it's hard to tell right now because we're only in the openers. Alex is pretty standard in all builds. But Loch Ness has a big pile of burn in his hand already, 2 Frostbolts and a Fireball. We'll
Two
see what happens.
Frostbolts.
Well, he got
Oh,
one off
well,
the
yeah,
book.
one from the book.
It's not Freeze Mage Slimsh. Don't worry, you don't have to cast that again.
Woo! Yeah, that was an odd sight. So yeah, ping's pretty straightforward. We are not playing turn 2 Dirty Rats today, I hope.
No. At least I hope we're not.
I would just expect a ping. You try to save coin for Antonidas whenever possible. Basically.
Yeah. Well, and Burglary Bully has really added itself to a lot of lists, in part because of the Antonidas interactions. You just get to make so many fireballs.
Ah, no respect for Medivh the Guardian. Which could be possible. Probably not, but you can never kind of know.
So do you AI here or develop block?
Uh, Probably just Arcane Intellect. There's what, 7, 8 cards.
We got 8 cards, so we go up to 9, and the next turn we can go to Refreshment Vendor. It does force you to basically play a spell every turn for a while, but that's not too hard to do when you have the Vendor and the Ice Block. You know you can develop whenever you want.
Yeah, I mean, the Arcane Intellect was played, or was kept, it should get played. Okay, so Reno, Ice Block, and Soulcaster have all shown up, so these are generally good things that you can't really complain about at any point.
Well, and Dirty Rat is actually probably the most dangerous card in this matchup because you really want to set the brand Dirty Rat and put yourself in the position to deny your opponent to do things like Kazakus or Manic Soulcaster. You can get a really, really big advantage by just removing the possibility of your opponent to play the long game instead of you playing the long game yourself.
Yeah, Brand Dirty Rat's something. I wonder if Brand's better reserved for Kazakus. I mean, you could technically do everything. You could, but then you might have trouble answering what comes out from the Dirty Rat.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a question. So the Dirty Rat getting played now is very I would a fireball is pretty straightforward, or even just vendor or frostbolt.
Yeah, I can't see
Ping.
rat being right here. You just there's so much risk going on, and I don't like playing it until you can deal with what comes out. Because what happens if he gets a brand here and then you Kazakus? Like, it's just there's so many bad things that could happen to you. Let alone if he plays it here, there's a 1 in 3 chance of just getting an 8/8.
I mean, this is a good pull, but it's
I
kind
wouldn't
of
have
weird.
made the play. Like it worked out. It's almost unfortunate that it did because I think that's a play that punishes you most of the time.
Yeah. So now that the Manic Soulcaster's out, that gives Loch Ness an advantage, a really huge advantage
Yeah,
that
well,
Troy's
because
lost.
fatigue's going to be a big deal, and Troy is down 2 really powerful cards in his deck. Right, he can't
It's
get
not
double Kazakus back.
it's not only it's not only fatigue, but it's just value and it's just everything. Like now you don't get your extra Reno, you don't get your extra Kazakus potion, and Loch Ness does.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here, and that turned out to be a fortunate pull. I don't think I would have ever made that play. I guess it worked out for him, but I'm surprised that the game is going the way it is.
He believed because there was no way, like there was not even the ability to coin out into a polymorph. Like what if there was an Antonitis? I don't know.
There's a lot of ways it could have gone wrong.
Yeah. So I guess the question is, how much does Loch Ness need to stress about claiming this with Ice Block and Reno in hand?
This is always the tough part with
Wonder
Reno
how slow
Mage,
you
right?
can
Is
take it.
that's that careful line of do I care about clearing and go for more value, or do I care about my life total and preserving the board?
I feel
It
like
is
you
10
could
damage.
simply Ice Block and ping the Soulcaster and just milk that hero power. Maybe ping and Fireball next turn if there's something like Emperor
Yeah,
Thor's on.
yeah. I wouldn't mind frostbolting the water elemental here,
Yeah.
because then you get to ping it down next turn as well.
Like it feels bad sometimes when you're put in a position where you're forced to Reno, especially if maybe you want to Soulcaster it. I mean,
This is kind of awkward.
the vendor, it's hopeful to play the vendor and to think that it might help you clear some of this stuff. I'm pretty sure that Troy will just opt to deal with it.
Well, you just run the 4/5 and ping, and then you're still.
Yeah.
I guess that theoretically gives your opponent value off volcanic potion, but it's still it's not all that awkward for Troy to deal with here.
Yeah, and you can just save Fireball that way because the minions only matter to a certain extent.
Yeah, the vendor. It's probably the play that requires the least amount of thinking about what's going to happen. It's the most proactive play, but I think it also doesn't really deal with anything going on in the board right now and doesn't really develop anything for future turns.
Yeah.
And getting the block up does matter a lot.
It'd be a different story if maybe Loch Ness had some AoE. Okay, it's gonna choose to
Yeah. Wow, really?
just ping it. Which, does this really get punished by much that would have happened otherwise if there was trading?
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
guess that's a good point.
a spell has to go into the second rate bruiser, which
Yeah, I guess this is actually a pretty smart play here because there's just no there's while Troy had a lot of good options, Loch Ness doesn't really have any.
yeah.
I would probably fireball the 4 or 5 here, trade in the vendor into the water elemental and ping it. I think most efficient use of your mana and clears 2 of the minions. Keeps
Yeah,
your
I
life
think
total a
that's
little
the way
higher.
to go. You could look at Forbidden Flame, but no, that doesn't really do it because you're forced to be using your coin. I mean, Fireball is the thing that hits face in the end, but you hope to make more. I'm assuming Antonitis is being run.
I haven't seen a Reno
It might
Mageless
not.
without Antonitis in a long time.
Yeah, most of them do, whether they're Freeze Mage-esque or not.
All right, so Loch Ness looks like he's going. Okay, so
This
ah,
this makes Frostbolt clear it.
yeah, I mean you're committing that Frostbolt to that minion there, right?
Yeah.
And we've already used one of the Frostbolts, so I hope Ice Lance isn't in the deck because that means it's not getting used ever.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think that the very Freeze Mage like builds, which are the only ones committed enough to play Icelands, I don't think they play Max Soulcaster usually. They're like the Novice
Yeah.
Engineer,
Yeah, the cycle heavy builds.
Mega Cycle, Rage thing. Yeah, this is just pure grindy grind.
I know you love a Cabal Courier.
I do love Cabal Courier. It could turn this thing on its head. You could get Jiraxis. Or, I don't know, another Kazakus. So, Frostbolt Ping? I don't think you're ever afraid of dying.
Yeah, I
Frostbolt
mean,
Ping block?
you just take out the 3/3 here. Flame Strike is too much value to spend it here. I think it's pretty reasonable to Frostbolt Ping Ice Block. That's the most valuable use of your mana. Lets you save the Courier for a brand turn, or you can play it next turn if you really want to.
Yeah. Yeah, Troy McClure's had interesting turns. The minions stuck around for a little while, but it never really mattered, and all the cards in the hand are pretty dead for the most part.
Well, so we're going for the long-term value, and it's actually working out pretty well for Troy here. Loch Ness seemed like he had an early advantage, but every turn has just been kind of cumbersome for him more than anything.
Yeah.
And there's the Antonidas as well. So Troy is putting together pieces to really keep the pressure on Loch Ness, and that Acolyte is going to be a pretty powerful source of card advantage here. There's not really a good way to deal with it.
Yeah, so Troy's comfortable with cycling a lot with this Acolyte. Probably wouldn't complain about drawing 3 times with it. Loch Ness has to go to pretty big pains to deal with that. Even if you play Doomsayer, they'll get another draw if they want it.
Yeah, and I think Doomsayer's probably the right play here, and you ping the 2/1 just to guarantee your Doomsayer lives or eats a fireball. And even then, you limit the Acolyte's card.
The problem with the Doomsayer is that in any of these Reno matchups, Doomsayer is an open invitation to Dirty Rat, and the hand is
Yeah.
loaded for Loch Ness. You do not want to invite Dirty Rat. Like, Dirty Rat can happen at any point, but you don't want to make it appealing.
That's a good point. And something else I've run into is that when you play Doomsayer, it makes your Kazakus a lot worse because you can't resurrect.
Yeah, you can't resurrect, and resurrecting is... it's pretty good. Loch Ness hasn't played bad minions yet, like Mistress.
Yeah, like my favorite part of resurrecting is when you can get the 10 mana resurrect 3+6 health. It is almost impossible for Reno Mage to deal with that.
Yeah, if you can ever get that combination, then pretty amazing. Even just the summoning alone is fine. So both of them have Antonidas. Neither have Emperor to really discount it, but Loch Ness has the coin from the beginning and Forbidden Flame at any point.
Do you fire off Alex here? Is this an Alex to the face?
I think it's pretty good timing. I mean, it would force Reno, but if they don't have Polymorph, then maybe Alex draws. So you'd be asking them to have 2 cards.
Yeah, specifically Reno and Polymorph. Or like Ice Block would give you a turn, right? But he needs to have either Reno or Ice Block, and then if he wants to play both of those, he also has to have Polymorph.
Whoa. Oh, okay.
Okay, I was worried there for a second. There.
Okay.
I was worried that we were going to go for an Antonidas pass, and I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, you would prefer them to Reno and then you Alex draws to them. It's just that's hard to do.
Yeah, but that was what I liked doing back in Reno Lock Mirrors, right? Or when you play Handlock against Reno Lock. But here, it doesn't seem super realistic for that to go down, and you can get so many more fireballs off Antonidas if you just wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, although the Frostbolt was used, but there's still Arcane Blast.
Well, there's still Burgly Bully.
Burgly Bully. Yep. You would think. If you're playing Antonidas, you're basically always playing Burgly Bully too. Some play Kabbalist Tome instead, but even in that case, you would wait for that and Emperor. Like, you've got nothing but time between Ice Block, Reno, and
You can always Alex yourself, I guess. If you spend it on his face, you can't, but I think forcing an answer here is the way that I would have played it.
Yeah, which, it was funny, the Polymorph was actually drawn. Now Emperor shows up after.
RIP.
Antonidas is dead.
Punished.
Yeah. Well, you can always go for Cabal Courier. This isn't really a card you usually save for Bran.
Yeah, well, you save the Kazakus and the Soulcaster, right?
Kazakus and Soulcaster is the dream. If you can actually, discounting some of the things like Reno, Soulcaster with Emperor can be really huge. Alright, so we're forfeiting the Courier, which is fine. Oh, Kabbalist Tome every day.
Kabbalist Tome, the value.
every
It's
day.
actually a little risky to play it this turn, though.
Yeah, because if you don't get a 1-mana spell, you're milling, right?
1 or 2 mana, but yeah, it's still
1
you have
or
to get
2
a 1
mana.
or a 2 that you want to play.
That seems likely, but I'm not gonna do the math here.
I mean, you'll get a shatter every time.
And then it's just unplayable because it doesn't work. Wow.
And we continue to get punished by not playing the Alex.
So this is
I
the right
mean,
way to play Dirty Rat. You got your polymorph in hand. You can deal with anything.
kind of
Anything
awkward that you
dirty.
can't deal with the Poly and the Emperor. Well, I guess you
You can deal with the Emperor.
you run
It's
the
just-
3/3 and then Volcanic Potion and clear the board.
Yeah, that's the best way. You could double trade, but the Volcanic Potion's useless, so it feels good to you.
Yeah, double trade. We just played the 2/6.
Oh, duh. Yeah, so you have to Volcanic Potion. Duh. You definitely do that. Volcanic Potion's not a very nice thing for Antonice anyway.
No, it's not super useful in this matchup. I think you're never going to get better value than what we just saw. And this is a Kabbalist Tome immediately, right?
Yeah. See what you get.
Ah,
Another Cabal, so it's
Tome.
so it's gonna be this kind of game.
Can you imagine if we had an Antonitis?
Oh my god. Yeah, look at those spells, the Mirror Image and the Explosion.
Oh, baby.
Now Mirror Image screws up your Resurrect too, so that's gonna be completely out of the question. But when does it even get played?
It would have been with the Antonitis, but that's gone already. So at this point, I don't even know unless we like somehow get a Flame Waker.
So this Kabbalist Tome all came off of Cabal Courier. And look what it
Jeez.
led to.
The Cabal to the Cabal.
Alright, so Troy's not shy about the Alexstrasza because there's really not that many great options, although Azure Drake probably would have been fine.
That was just the biggest Blackwing Corruptor I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's 9 mana, 8/8, deal 3 damage.
Troy's doing slightly good on fatigue, but again, behind in the Manic Soulcaster department.
We're
Well,
talking
there's
what,
no need to
13 to
Reno.
12?
You could just do. I guess the question is, do you ever want to play Blood Mage Thalanos? I don't think you do.
Well, he's got the Soul Cast, and remember, Troy doesn't. So Loch Ness is still going to be ahead in fatigue, or at least comparable.
Yeah,
You
Thalanos
could-
helps you get to your brand sooner. You could just Thalanos Fireball Ping trade.
Or you could Thalnos Flame Strike trade.
Yeah. Oh. Trading the elemental.
The Water Elemental into the 8/8.
I guess you don't value its life that much, but
Yeah, but it'd be nice to keep the 3/6 around.
yeah.
I think it'd be better to use one of the Fireballs here.
Yeah.
Yep, Loch Ness agrees with you.
You'd hope for them to go face eventually, but I think Loch Ness is just going to straight up win the fatigue game at this rate.
Yeah, the Manic Soulcaster pull is so important.
Yeah, like Troy doesn't have Soulcaster, Loch Ness does. Loch Ness can find Bran and do Reno Bran Soulcaster, which seems awkward, but it's fine because if you ever draw the Reno, which is the relevant card, then it's active.
Well, and the both Dirty Rats are gone too. So at this point, the hand is
Yeah.
sacred.
The hand is sacred; it won't be defiled.
Yes.
By dirty
By
rats.
Rats.
That could have been a fireball. Oh well.
There are so many fireballs that could have happened this game. I mean, it is what it is. It worked out. It's just there were a couple decisions I would have made a little bit differently. Lord knows if they were correct.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to see how the game's unfolded.
So this is a 9-card hand. In order to even play the Tome, you'd have to play like the Mirror Image first, just to see
Yeah.
what there would be.
Well, he'd have to spend so many cards to get the Kabbalist Tome off. I don't know if you need to act at this point. Because he doesn't have a lot of proactive stuff in the hand.
Yeah, You'd like to deal with the Drake, which you can easily do just by trading, but
I wouldn't mind even like Arcane Blast, Arcane Explosion, and Ping. The spells aren't super valuable. You just want to reduce your hand size so you can get that Kabbalist Tome
no,
going.
not
And that actually
anymore.
lets you tome this hand.
Blast
Yeah, if
is
you
only as
do-
good as you finding your Azure Drake, which
So if you do Blast, Explosion, Ping, then you get to tome with the remaining 5 mana, and you have 9 cards.
yeah. I'd be a fan of anything that lets Tome get played because like the hand's just so big. I guess this works too.
Another mirror image. Well, we certainly cannot Kazakus into Resurrect now because it's going to get back O2s and O7s.
Yeah. Wow, Potion of Polymorph is
That.
so
Well, you want to hit Bran,
interesting.
right?
Yeah, this thing is really awkward. Like, when do you play it, and how well can Troy play around it?
Both excellent questions. The question is how likely does Troy remember this card exists?
It is the new card.
Well, it's
Yeah.
new. It's not super relevant. There are a lot of targets that don't matter, right? Because if the battle cry is what matters, then it doesn't. It's
Whoa,
irrelevant.
we're
Oh
playing
boy,
Rag. That's a card
that's a big
that
boy.
I actually wonder why he's not in more Reno Mages. I've been thinking about Rag lately.
It's got to be amazing in the mirror here, right? Because he's out of. He doesn't have polymorph. He has to Forbidden Flame it, I think.
Yeah, the Polymorph's been used. Fireball was used.
Yeah,
Oh, Emperor shows up and it's just not a good time for him.
there's no way to deal with this.
It seems like you'd have to Emperor plus something awkward like Doomsayer to... Because if it's just Emperor, then... Well, it gets killed and you could very well be dead. Blizzard is useless. Thalnos is useless. He just gets pinged away.
Yeah, I don't know what Troy can do here. It's he actually has a hand that's fairly proactive in terms of threats, but he's on the back foot, and Loch Ness has a lot of answers. He has 2 Flame Strikes.
Reno Doomsayer is just praying.
Yeah.
It seems like whatever you do, it has to be something in the combination of Doomsayer, either Emperor and pray super, super hard, or Reno and not. It's just so...
Oh, so
Yeah.
he's going for the freeze plan. Yeah, I mean, you have to do this, but it's going to get punished.
Okay.
It's
Well,
not
Ragnaros
like, it's a
doesn't
decent
care if he's
try.
frozen. In fact, it's possible that Loch Ness, if he had fireballs left, he could have set up a 50-50 lethal. Not anymore, though.
And here I think you have to, Flame Strike, Arcane Blast, Ping?
Sure.
I mean, it's any number of ways to clear the Doomsayer. You just want Rag in play for as long as possible.
You
And
want
then there
Rag in
is a way to
play,
deal with it
and...
next turn with Flame Strike Ping, but it eats your entire turn.
Ooh. Oh, well, okay. Normally, wouldn't be a fan of using the one that costs 7 mana, or the one created randomly, but it costs more mana, so sure.
Yeah, it
could
doesn't
matter
have
big
you
time.
float in mana here, so it matters.
Yeah, because you got Flame Strike, Arcane Blast, Ping options.
Okay, so you probably have to Reno here, right? There's no way around playing the Reno.
Well, both, I believe there was a Fireball used naturally from the deck, and 2 that were created by Antonidas.
Yeah, but he also Kabbalist Home twice and is holding on to
Plus Frostbolt,
1,
yeah.
2, 3, 4 of those cards.
There's too many possibilities.
Like, Fireland's Portal is such a perfect answer here, but you can't play it because
It
die.
is too risky. Yeah. So just Reno, probably ping it, maybe, because maybe a Flame Strike will present itself, and also the Reno could just contest it as an option.
I mean, I like pinging it. I think that's a
You
good
can't play Intellect. That's pretty clear, I would say.
Well, and when you don't have the Soul Caster, your head fatigue anyways.
Yeah. Whoa.
Oh my goodness.
Alright, so he's desperately trying to set up the Antonidas, it seems like. Which is going to pan out if it can happen.
But it's possible that you will get cooked by Potion of Polymorph.
Why do you say kook? Yeah,
because
he could play...
it would be a kooky play.
He could play the Potion of Polymorph. So what do you want? There are ways to deal with Reno, but they're pretty ugly. Yeah. You mirror image... You saw the Blizzard.
Oh, no way would I ever Kazakus here. You want to hold up for the brand. every single game here. You'd be so far ahead
I
just
think-
to have the extra cards in your deck.
I think the brand, it's either the brand for the Kazakus plus Manic or the brand for the Reno plus Manic.
I could see that. Yeah, because they're
can't be
discounted,
both.
you can play. Well, because they're discounted, you can go Brand, Reno, Soulcaster. I would save it for the Kazakus, I think, but I can see that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. He's just gonna do it here. Just get the one, which can get brand comboed later.
Yeah.
So this is gonna turn into a really juicy Flame Strike, and maybe there'll be hope for Troy if Troy can clear this with Flame Strike, and then set up the Emperor plus Antonius shenanigans.
But he's also 4 cards behind the Fatigue, right? So
What
he has
the-
to win off the Antonius.
What the heck were the options that were freezing 3 random enemy minions against Mage?
I don't know.
I wasn't paying attention.
But there was, I don't know what on earth would cause us to pick this potion. It's
Oh,
really
hello,
not good.
Kazakus.
Well then, and I guess he didn't want to brand back the Kazakus with the Soulcaster because then that shuts off Reno.
This potion of polymorph's really well timed. Some of the bad targets before are gone now, like the Doomsayer and the Thalnos.
Yeah, look at the minions in hand, right? Bran, Antonius, and
Oh,
Emperor.
they're great. Anything is a severe disappointment.
And I think there's a decent chance of Bran getting run out here for the Kazakus, and that would just be a complete blowout.
There's also a
don't
question of whether you want to kill this Reno or not, and then you have to think about things like Counterspell and Spellbender. So you do things like, well, you can't really throw the way to win. It's such a desperate situation. These cheap spells need to combo with Antonius.
Well, in Portal here, it lets you at least get a mild amount of board presence as well as dealing with the Reno. I think I like that. Even though we have Caster Vision and know that we don't want to play into this Potion of Polymorph, I think just getting something on the board and dealing with the threat is reasonable.
Like, just how much can you respect Potion of Polymorph of all cards? Well, a good thing he played around it.
How much can you have room in your head for that to exist?
Oh my god!
Ooh, it's a bully!
Oh my god.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
Okay. Well, no spells are getting played yet.
Yeah, well, and he's not. We're not going to go for the mill plan either.
10 armor's really, really good.
Yeah.
3
I think
demons
that's
aren't
better
bad
than the
either,
damage.
but
The
man, look at
armor
those
mana
golden
cost.
potions. They shake.
They're so pretty.
8/8 demon can't be bad.
Oh, yeah. I want Golden Kazaka so bad.
But after rotation,
Do you go
Now,
for 8
deal
damage or 10 armor?
I like dealing 8 because Burn's been used pretty heavily, and when fatigue comes up, being able to just burn them out be so relevant. Well, we're definitely not getting Ichor of Undeath.
Nah,
Talked about
this-
that.
Yeah, that bridge has been burned.
Yeah, just ping the bully. Wow. If the bully can get dealt with without any spells being used, that's crazy. Oh, the natural bully!
And it's golden too, and look, his bag is leaking coins.
Troy McClure is 2 cards to 6 right now in terms of fatigue.
Yeah.
Forgotten Torch helps just a tiny bit, but
Well, we have to assume they both have torch, right? So it's gonna be the same.
yeah. Well, it sure would be great for Troy to play that Burgly Bully. It'll turn into a sheep, but that's the best right
It's-
now.
I don't know if you really want to
Oh,
say
what a
yourself up to being
heartbreaker.
Oh boy. He has no idea what's about to happen.
It's okay.
Just waiting for the emote. Let's wait for the emote.
So, wait. Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's bad on the one hand that the spells aren't all discounted, but I mean they're still playable with Antonius, and by protecting the Burgly Bully, maybe, just maybe, Antonius can get fireballs that way too.
I think that the Emperor getting sheeped out of the power minions in his hand, it was probably the best option, and
Yeah,
there was no way you ever don't play
That-
Emperor there because of
that's
Potion of
a
Polymorph.
huge amount of optimism, but yeah, it's true. It's true. So Burgly Bully is with Ananias gone, it's kind of like a liability. I doubt that Troy would mill him though.
He just doesn't have that many resources left.
No.
And at this
So
point,
now
it's
we
like
go.
that Trade Prince Galax where they're just giving each other coins.
So now we go in on Antonidas.
I guess so. Or you can Grand Kazakus here.
Yeah, and get some 10 mana potions. Maybe
then it's
Ice
gonna
Block
be-
too. Like, how much do you
Yeah,
care about
you
them
can
getting
go with Ice
points?
Block. Has Troy has played the Doomsayer, right? Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah, he did the Blizzard into the Ragnaros with the Doomsayer turn. But you still have to get the Ichor of Undeath, I think. You just really need that board presence.
Just
And he
risk
does
it.
get the Resurrect and the +6 health if he wants
Yeah.
it, which is a really powerful potion.
Yeah, go for it. Get that gold thorn.
Looks like he went for it.
Wow, this game's long. Oh, and then he gets
It's-
the 1 mana for Antonidas. That's cool.
Ah. The good old MV Parker 110 strategy. He used to do that. He talked about doing that when you have a Jiraxis in hand, so you could go Jiraxis and 1-drop into the 10-drop.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of that one. Alright, so now the bully is contested, but... Now, which one of these
Yes.
potions makes sense? If any.
I don't think you're gonna get a better freeze 3 than this one. And Add Demon does also put pressure on you to do something each turn with your hand.
I like adding the demons right now. It's
You
like
think
the...
so?
It's like the least... It's the spell... It's the potion that's the hardest to find room to squeeze in. The other
oh
one,
my
like,
God.
deal 8... Oh!
That's a summoning stone.
Okay, you might as well just make it. But it's just the deal 8, summon 8/8, and the summon 8/8 freeze 3 are just like so much more useful and
Yeah,
reactive.
I mean, I guess you can fire them off whenever, and like the Add 3 Demons, you have to have the right time to use it, and it gives you more proactive cards in your hand too. So
It's got
I
ice
can see
block,
that.
so you don't have to be too scared.
Here comes a big Antonidas turn.
Yeah, so it's going to be between Frostbolt, Arcane Blast, Coin, and the potion, which is summon a friendly minion that died this game, which could be...
Yeah.
It could be a sheep.
But it could also be this Antonidas when it dies. Because we have
Oh, we squeezed a ping in.
Polymorphs.
I guess that's -1 Fireball, but you still have Frostbolt.
Yeah. Hope we don't get that Doomsayer here.
Let's hope this minion's actually...
That's an 8. That's what that is.
Oh,
Oh, baby. We
You
got
can
some
freeze
good
him.
cards going on.
but
Yeah,
then
well,
you can't kill Antonidas.
Yeah, you pretty much have to make sure Antonidas dies right now.
So summon
you
an
do also
8/8,
get
deal
a
8.
10-drop. You get a 10-drop. Remember?
You
Summoning
get a
Stone.
10 drop, which could be really good or really bad. It could be Cthulhu. I do love
Could be
Cthulhu.
Cthulhu, could be
Oh
any of the
my
death
god,
wings.
this game's so...
This game, when did this start? This is longer than the entire Krovan Super Sam series.
Okay. We got the Coon, which
I
is
forgot about him.
low average.
We're also playing the fatigue game, so at this point you can make it so that ice block doesn't matter.
True. It's more of a... Yeah, it basically doesn't matter. You try to set them up around it. Which has to be Troy's plan now. With all this burn in hand, and Reno used, and Reno not put back into the deck by the Manic Soulcaster.
Yeah.
It was the Kazakus. Also, you know what's really awkward? Brand's left in the deck and he's completely useless. No, Brand was
Yeah.
played. Never mind.
Yeah, he was played.
Brand was
what
played
are
with the
last cards in
Kazakus.
deck? There's still a Forgotten Torch in the deck. We know that because we haven't seen it yet.
You would think there's Forgotten Torch. Not all of them actually play it, but most do. Maybe there's an Acolyte that's completely useless, but not all of them play both Acolyte and Intellect. Sometimes the Cabal Courier is the Acolyte sub.
Yeah, I've seen that stuff, but I don't think you can cut Torch just because the adding the card in fatigue matters so much for what the deck wants to do.
The Kazakus potion's really good here, but yeah. It looks like Troy just wants to set up the burn plan as soon as possible. Ice Block's kind of an irrelevant thing to play. I guess you hope that their math isn't convenient.
Yeah.
Loch Ness H is a ways away from fatigue still.
This is actually closer than it seems, isn't it? Right? Because
Yeah.
the block is getting popped next turn. So we got 2 turns to kill Troy.
And Loch Ness has no way to heal unless there's an Earthen Ring. Refreshment Vendor got played real early. So
But on
his
the
hope,
other hand, we're making a lot of 8/8s.
his hope is just to kill in response, but with minions, because
Well,
there's
he
no
just
burn.
has to bring Troy to 2 life before his draw step.
And Troy's the one in fatigue, so
Yeah,
but
the
it all
fatigue will kill
counts
him
on the
through the ice
minions.
block.
Which the minions are going to be fine because unlike Loch Ness, Troy doesn't seem to be playing Frost Nova. How
Yeah,
nuts is this summoning stone?
This summoning stone is made a 7/7 and an 8/8. Yeah, I mean, all we have to do is get Troy to 2 life.
I can't believe how great the summoning stone has been. It changed the whole game. Wait, why do you want a wisp? Oh, Bible Thump!
Because Tiny Finn is adorable.
Oh, you got.
But
Okay, so
sadly,
yeah,
it's gonna
Babbling
die.
Book is the only hope here.
You want to cast a spell? I want to cast a spell.
Yeah, like he can pop the block here, but then he dies in the swing back. And I think he wanted the Tiny Finn to get more flexibility with the life total, so he could get him to exactly 1 or 2.
Right. Yeah, math is a thing.
Sometime.
Does the Tiny Fin help make a better block popping?
It's if the 2/3 got dealt with and the 1/1 didn't, it would have.
What does Troy have to do here? I
Concede.
don't know if there's anything he can do.
He has to concede. The game's over. It took a while, but this game is over.
Oh, apparently, a more astute observer in the Anarchist has mentioned that pinging the Tiny Fin and fireballing the 2/3 would let him live. Or frostbolting.
Wow. That's a good call. And we figured it out. But also, it doesn't pop the block, which kind of makes this irrelevant, right?
I'm almost out of cards.
And that's a win
Troy.
anyway, because of Forgotten Forge.
Yeah. Troy was about to take 2 damage. Yeah.
Jeez. What a game. But yeah, Troy was about to take 2 damage. That allows him to live, but it doesn't allow him to pop the block, which means Loch Ness gets 2 swings. He gets to pop Troy's block, and then fatigue happens. He doesn't die, but then he has to clear the entire board and not take damage the next turn, and die to fatigue anyway.
Yeah, so the very brash Dirty Rat paid off big time.
Yeah, it's... And the good news is there will be no more Reno Mage Mirrors in this match.
Right.
Ugh. After that game, I feel like I just want to call my mom, tell her I love her. Tell her I might not make it home for Christmas.
Christmas is a long way. Alright, so Troy still has the Mage, which can play against Warlock and Warrior. Undisclosed Warrior, Undisclosed Warlock.
I mean,
I feel pretty good
Undisclosed
playing
Warlock.
Reno Mage against those things.
Well, you
Just in
win with
general.
Reno Mage more than most people. I think the Mage and Lock matchup comes down a lot to build and skill. Because Reno Lock, I think, is a little bit easier to navigate. You're able to play minions and take control of the board in a way that Reno Mage can't.
The
I do
builds
think
are
Reno
very
Mage is
different.
able to
As long as you
definitely
got a
do
build that you're comfortable with,
Bring it on.
you're good to go. Looks like Loch Ness is playing a Dragon Pirate Warrior, a kind of a slow one too, with the Curator.
Interesting that we're topping out with Curator. It makes me wonder if there are 8-drops, because what made Dragon Warrior good in the old meta was the 8-drops were so powerful. You either had a Grom or a Rag. Here, I don't know what we're going to top out with. I would imagine Curator would be the high end.
Now, I didn't actually see some of the options in Troy's mulligan. Is this pure Pirate Warrior?
Yeah, he had a heroic strike that he threw back.
Oh, okay. So you would think that, actually no, Dragon Pirate Warrior ought to be favored due to the taunts.
Yeah, Dragon should definitely be advantaged in this matchup. It's not like a slam dunk, but Dragon should be advantaged because you got 2 mana 3/3 and you have taunts.
Right. Yeah, so goes with the small time, hoping to follow up with a weapon. to make it more relevant. And Loch Ness can be as afraid of this as he wants to be.
Yeah, the draw for Loch Ness looks like it's going to line up really well here.
I think if you coin the War Axe, it's fine. You can follow up with Small Time War Fairy Dragon, depending on how relevant the patches is.
I think it's reasonable to coin out the War Axe here. I could see Small Time Buccaneer though. You have to be worried about the weapon, and you don't really have a good follow up. So I think coining out the War Axe makes more sense, just because otherwise the Buccaneer is going to start eating big chunks out of your life total.
Yeah, if a weapon buffed Buccaneer kills your Buccaneer, then you're probably just going to use the axe into the Buccaneer anyway, and it'll be a 3-power Buccaneer at that point.
I mean, if we were a rogue, this would be a completely different decision. But you know, because we don't have the ability to deal 1 damage easily, we have to pretty much rely on the War Axe to clear it.
Right. Ooh, that's pretty nice. Yeah, I think you just take this.
Yeah, it's just damage.
You just smack him with this Rusty Hook as much as possible because you got a lot of hook charges to get through.
Well, and the way to win this matchup, you just have to be faster than them, right? You're not going to win the long game ever unless you top deck burn spells. And we don't know if Troy has the bash build or not.
Yeah, Troy also has no idea which warrior variant this is at this point. Well,
Yeah,
now he has the idea that it's an aggressive one. You take lesser. I feel like you take lesser heal.
It's either heal or shot. I don't mind either. I do think heal is pretty defensible. I don't mind shot to close out the game a little bit faster, just because Pirate Warriors, the deck is just so heavy on the damage. It's not really a bad thing to say, before you draw more burn spells and weapons, I'm going to kill you. But heal accomplishes a very similar goal, and with the taunt, it lets them stay healthy.
Yeah. Heal's really flexible, too. You can heal up your minions, especially your taunt ones, like this monkey or the Twilight Guardian. You can heal yourself, too, and just your big minions, if it were ever come to that, but that's a Pirate Warrior, so...
And with the way this draw has gone, heal is going to be really valuable. This Finley is just going to eat minions all day long.
Ooh, that's a really good hero power.
Yeah, it's going to work out really well here. But still, Loch Ness is under not a lot of pressure. If he can keep that Arcanite Reaper from tearing 10 points out of his life total, he's in a really good spot. And there's just so many cards in hand along with that healing hero power. We're going to be able to keep the board relatively clear.
Yeah, I think this axe has to get saved in the case that there was ever, well...
I don't know, are you worried? You can clear both pirates here to make frothing worse, and also to make sure that you can't buff that weapon with the Bloodsail Cultist.
Yeah. I guess you would kill the pirate before you kill Sir Finley, huh?
Yeah, well, the 1-3 is not super advantage here, and this... I don't know if you're necessarily worried about upgrading a hook 1 time, but it does prevent the possibility, or it prevents South Sea Captain from getting a trade.
Yeah. So it just seems like the War Axe here. It's gonna work out either way.
It feels pretty solidly advantage for Loch Ness here, despite Troy finding an answer for the taunt. So much damage has gone into minions already, and heal in play. We're gonna get to play a 3-2 here and heal the face.
Yeah, it's just that Troy found the small minions that are important but not super impactful, and Loch Ness also found the small minions which were able to go about even, which favors him.
And Finley is a stupid card.
Yep.
It's eaten 2 1/1s and healed face already, and it's gonna keep doing that.
Yeah, and that priest hero, I mean, it's just better than armor up, because Loch Ness is always going to be hurt, and you have the option for your minions at the same time.
Yeah, and this is where it starts to feel bad for Pirate Warrior, because you've lost board control. You know that you're probably never going to get it back. So how much face are you able to go? And trying to go face into a deck that's healing while they're doing it when you're not developing anything is, oh god, how disheartening is this?
Was it necessary to override that, or was there time to...
I mean, you know that they're going to play some kind of big, beefy guy on this turn. You've got, what, 3 turns? 2 to 3 turns?
Yeah.
I guess you keep it in case you draw some heroic strikes. There's a chance here.
Both Mortal Strike and Leroy in the same turn so far away, so yeah, Troy just goes with the Leroy while he can. And if Loch Ness isn't careful about Mortal Strike, that's it.
Yeah, this is actually way closer than we expected.
But
Like I said, the Pirate Warrior is just all damage.
Twilight Guardian plus heal though is just amazing. So maybe with
Yeah.
that, you can take some liberties in pushing face because you know that just Mortal Strike won't do it, and I'm not even sure what alongside Mortal Strike does it other than another Mortal Strike. Or Bash. Or Bash, because Murgleton can't be it anymore.
Is he holding back? Is he holding back?
Well, he can kill him anyway. Not with the hero power though. With the shapeshift.
Yeah, it'd be one off.
It'd be one off with the Blackwing Corruptor, so
So he's saying that the taunt means
it has
so
to
it
be.
has to be Bash, specifically Bash.
It can't be double Mortal Strike. Yeah, like the outs are so limited.
Yeah, I like that attack there. It's hard to kind of stare into the face of that and say this is what I'm going to do, and there's a small chance of me losing. But it has to be the right play, and it's going to work out here for him. This game was closer than it looked, though. If it weren't for that taunt, then the game would have been a very, very different play.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's basically going to be over now. Upgrade, not really worthwhile here. If you soften it up, you're dead.
Yeah, no, the game is
So
over.
it's
There's
just
no outs
shapeshift
here, right?
pass. Yeah.
I mean, you can fire that Mortal Strike into either the 5-4 or the 3-6 if you really want to. But then you're then you're not dead, but the Curator will just ruin your life.
Yeah, you're never winning though if you use the Mortal Strike.
Yeah, I mean that's just too much damage to get rid of here.
The way for Troy to win would have been, I think, to shapeshift, live with them being 1 damage off lethal, or being off lethal, and then top decking the second Mortal Strike, and
That
being able
means
to
Zos first
impose.
That first mate is lethal.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah. What were you saying?
It was basically gonna. It was basically gonna be over. Anyway, it would have had to be the second Mortal Strike at that rate.
Yeah. And
Because
that
Heroic Strike
top deck first mate is lethal every time there, so unfortunately
Yep.
the cards were just not going to work out for him. Curator could have been punished only by the second Mortal Strike, but it could have happened. The play was probably the right one, but it's the situation, the game just kind of slipped away as soon as that Finley came down.
Yeah, so Loch Ness is up 2. Only has Warlock left to beat down Mage, Warlock, and Warrior. What does Troy feel best about?
Yeah, I mean we've seen this before. The most recent series, the Warlock got swept.
It just so happens that Troy also has Warlock. And that's a very good start.
Yeah, I like the mixtures and the Mistress and the Peddler here. And Troy's hand is kind of awkward. There are no 1-drops in that hand.
Yeah, so Troy thinks Warrior's the best way. Possibly get a win. Probably correct. The Mage wasn't built to be quite polarizing enough against the Warlock. It definitely has a chance, but not too out there. And yeah, so Mistress and the Peddler. Troy has the South Sea Captain type build. That's interesting.
Those are getting more popular. I mean, Muzzy's build with the double captain, the 1 Mortal Strike is pretty easy to find. The Bashes, Racy was running that, and there were a couple other players that were doing that. Oh, baby.
Oh!
Look at Troy's new hand. Look at this.
Wow. Demon Wrath, too. Demon Wrath, among all the cards that are good, Demon Wrath can be the best. Sometimes it's basically Volcanic Potion, which is amazing.
So we've got 2 really strong mulligans here. Troy, mulligan into double Buccaneer with an upgrade, and then an Arcanite Reaper for later. But unfortunately, Loch Ness got 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop board clear, and Reno. So I don't know. I'd want to be in Loch Ness's shoes here.
Yeah. Yeah, so just play the Mistress. Sometimes you wonder about holding it, but with a 2-drop to follow, especially.
Drawing patches.
Ugh.
Feels bad, man.
Feels real bad.
Poor Troy.
Well,
Yeah,
you
it's
just play it, and then you.
I- a coin upgrade. Do you really go patches coin upgrade here? I mean, I guess it works, and you gain the life, and they don't, but feels pretty bad.
I really don't know. Nothing feels good. I think you could do patches and just go face, and then I mean they'll probably trade with it because why go face, and then
But you're
you could
getting an
upgrade.
incremental damage against a Mistress of Mixtures. It's just gonna go away anyways.
Yeah, but they won't Mortal Coil on. I don't know. Just nothing
I
feels
mean,
very good.
we're roping on turn 1 for the same reason. Troy's like, all these options suck, and he's right.
Uh huh. I mean, you could wait. You could wait to do it to kill the mistress and protect your small time. Okay, so this into the double small time.
Yeah, I think this is the best crappy play that he has. And it doesn't even cost him any life. This
Good
bruiser,
deal.
man. Look at this bruiser. That's gonna be pretty powerful too.
It's sad to have to use the upgrade like that too. You'd really like to save it for the Arcanite Reaper, but purely for the small time Buccaneers.
This Demon Wrath is just gonna piss right in his Cheerios.
Yeah, I don't like it when that happens at breakfast.
Nah, it's too warm.
Yeah. Yep, so double small time. This was the plan all along to set up the upgrade for them, which Peddler even makes you pretty sad about, but
Yeah, you don't even have to Demon Wrath here. Like, you just run your 2/2 into the 3/2, and then you have to deal with one Flame Imp. We're at the position where, as the Reno Lock, it feels good to tap, and that's pretty scary for the Pirate Warrior.
yep, who goes there? Upgrade to the face because you know you're equipping that Reaper soon.
Ugh.
I like the Demon Wrath a good amount, really.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you can play for value here, but you don't need to play for value against Pirate Warrior when you're Reno Lock. Seems like Loch Ness has the right idea figured out. Like, just clear it. Just get
If
rid of it.
if there's a frothing berserker, or if there's a frothing berserker, you really don't want to be in a position where you're using Demon Wrath.
Yeah, and you don't want cultists to get any incremental value either.
Yep.
Even it's small value, but it's something.
Blood and plunder.
Resisting the urge to upgrade and get the 3/3 for free. Oh god,
Oh
Kazakis,
my
could you ask for a better Reno Lock draw? We have not floated mana or tapped once this game.
Jim Sayer. Oh, we're going for 5. Summon 2? Was it? I mean, getting Mistress back would be pretty great.
It's DO4 summon 2.
DO4 summon 2. It's great.
My goodness, this game.
Do you just well, maybe you just play second, right?
Yeah, I would trade in Kazakhstan to play second.
Yeah, because you play second rate for 5 mana, knowing that it can eat Arcanite Reaper, and you're fine with that.
Yeah, it's if that's what happens, you're pretty happy, especially with the Reno in hand as a backup. I don't think this game could have gone any worse for Troy.
No, and yeah, that'll be a sweep. Which we talked about the situations that would make Team Swagway lose to Temporal Legends, and the sweep here is
Yeah, it's
significant
this
and
is one
necessary.
of 2 pieces, and their 5 seed, if we recall correctly, Swagway sub their 5 seed. It's Art Fart Boat in the 5 seed,
Heart Fart Boat, the hero we need.
but
Don't.
not the hero we deserve.
Oh my God.
Well then, I mean, do you Argus here?
I don't think.
I don't
so.
mind the Argus. I mean, it's what the Dirty Rat has to eat the Reaper and the 2/1, and then the Argus trades in.
Yeah.
I don't
Alright,
mind
so
it.
the
I
corruption
mean,
goes down to Leroy, which is essentially going to force it to trade.
and the worst part of this is that Troy is going to feel like he has a chance, and then the Reno is going to get played from the far left.
Or the deal 4 damage to clear the frothing,
Yeah.
which, yeah, that'll have to be the case now.
And there are 2 taunts that could come back too.
There are 2 taunts that could come back. just one of them will be a pain enough, and then maybe only one comes back, and then there's Mistress, but there's also Kazakis and Peddler.
Yeah.
I mean, as bad as it is for Troy,
It's not necessarily hopeless, but with the Reno in hand, it's pretty goddamn hopeless.
you're not dead to anything if you use the potion, right? Because
Well,
Leroy's
Leroy's
gone?
already been spent. Yeah, it would have to be Mortal Strike's not turned on. You're dead to Reckless Rocketeer.
Ah, how silly of me. Yeah, so this is just a safe play. Just do this. Don't tap. Well, with
And
a taunt,
there's
you
a
could
taunt.
tap. He could have tapped.
It
Would've been
doesn't
fine.
matter. He's gonna play Reno, and his opponent's gonna concede.
Well, yeah. Don't tap to play around Divine Favor, I guess.
See, those old skills still serving you right.
The good old days.
Were they? Divine Favor's got to be one of the worst design cards in Hearthstone's history.
Yeah, so just sadly take it
That
out.
feels so bad. Like, trade and armor up. That's not what a Pirate Warrior is supposed
And
to
then
be
the
doing.
deckhand is lonely. Yeah, and now we're just gonna tap Reno all day.
All day, day.
Tap Reno all day. Do not rag.
I mean, it probably wouldn't even get punished here, but
Gonna be rich.
Yeah, that's gotta be it for Troy. It feels bad. That the Reno Warlock sequencing there was truly something else.
I don't know if I've seen the Reno Warlock Zoo draws where they just spend all their mana every single turn.
Well,
Up
if it
until
was
they gain all
Doomsday
their life
rather than
back.
Peddler, then that would have been, yeah,
I mean, the rich get richer.
rich character. That they do. That they do. So now you just Argus to completely crush their hopes.
Yeah, I would just Argus to save time.
Tap. We can do this too. This might speed it up the most of anything. And then you've
Yeah.
got what? Leroy Hellfire. For
Leroy
maximum.
Hellfire, yeah, Leroy Hellfire would do it. I'm impressed by Troy's fortitude. He hasn't conceded yet somehow.
That's amazing. Yeah, so between Leroy and Hellfire, the armor up screws it up though. No, yeah.
He
Troy
found the right player.
knows it's not going anywhere. Alright.
All right, that's a sweep.
Wow. No strangers to Salty Saturday.
No.
Cool. Alright, well, up next, we've got Entropy's Fearless Leader Smoked Salmon going up against Zeroshio, who was the mid-season pickup for Team 1600 Dust, so we got plenty of bias tonight.
Well, we got him off the waiver wire. I would like to point out he's the host, one of the 3 hosts of the podcast Hero Power. And next week we may very well be picking up another person from Hero Power as a permanent mid-season replacement. So the team name will likely be Team 1600 Power. You know, 2 podcasts, 1 team, can't go wrong.
Sounds like a very inspirational podcast I could listen to.
Yes, you should definitely take the time, and they all have really amazing Southern accents, so it's just very, very common.
Oh, we love that so much. We never did get a THL team that was infested with them. We
Well,
never
I
got
mean-
the Salt in Bulk show.
You mean Salt, Imbolc, and Parker, right? Because Parker's from the South
Yeah,
Indiana.
Parker's from the South.
And then
Alright, let's look-
Smoked Salmon as well. Entropy they're riding the top of the power rankings, though unfortunately they
getting
were
some
much
respect.
lauded. They were much lauded coming into the season, but they're only 3-2 so far. It's Harry Generals, Noob Central, and Bad Hombres they beat in the first 3 weeks, but they lost to Team Golden Wisp and the Bad Boys of THL. They lost to Aeon.
Bad boys.
Yeah, the Discord Iconoclast, as it were. And currently in the series, I believe we are tied with Entropy. 1600 does that.
I think it's 5-6.
Yeah, it's tied in terms of match wins, but yeah, I think, yep, I got a 3-1 over Phenom, and then D Lyman got a 3-2 against our sub Mojo Powell, who did really well for his first week subbing in THL.
Ooh, we should talk about classes. So, Smoked Salmon has Mage, Priest, Shaman, and Warlock. The Priest was banned.
Priest was banned.
Well, Zeroshio does have Mage. But yeah, and it's probably a good thing that that priest got banned because Zerosio lost his warlock. Warlock banned for smoked salmon, leaving up shaman, mage, and warrior. Don't see
So
many warlock bans.
yeah, well, and so with a priest ban, what do you think that tells us about the decks he's playing? Because typically, in my experience, you ban priest when you have a control lineup and you don't want to deal with them playing 40 cards in a 30-card deck.
Well, I very nearly banned priest once this season, so I would imagine that Zerosio has control warrior and Reno mage.
Yeah, and then the warlock is warlock got banned, so the shaman. I mean, we should expect an aggro shaman most likely, but it
He
could be
couldn't have
mid
known that
jade.
the warlock was going to get banned.
Could be a mid jade. Could be a mid jade shaman. Those are picking up in popularity.
Yeah, how do those do against more aggressive decks? They've got healing, they've got more AoE than the other ones.
Mid
Or I
jade.
guess they vary a little bit. Some have lightning storm,
Yeah.
some have more pirates.
They all have Jinyu Water Speaker. Some of them have Healing Wave, which is devastating against the aggro decks. Some of them have Devolve, which is better against the control decks and against Rogue.
Oh, they're in. By the way, how
oh
good
boy.
can Healing Wave be in a deck with pirates?
It feels weird, but it's just so powerful to get small time Buccaneer with a Spirit Claws or a Jade Claws.
Sad.
Victory or death.
Sad save affairs. Well, we got Smoked Salmon's mage against the warrior, so we're about to find out if it's control warrior. If it's control warrior, this is going to become very interesting. Aggressive warriors aren't as bad against priests as some might think. Okay, it looks like it's dragon warrior. People really have a fascination with dragon warrior.
Yeah, we've seen it 3 times, and that's 3 more times I was expecting to see it today.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, spoilers in chat. Shame on you guys.
No spoilers. Why are we spoiling?
So, Smoked Salmon, I mean, Reno's a pretty cool guy. We can talk about him being here a lot, but you gotta get to him. I'm a big fan of pinging Buccaneers twice.
Yeah, I think it's with Dragon. Well, I guess we don't know what's Dragon Warrior, right? It's because if it was Pirate Warrior, you'd want to ping the Buccaneer down in case of first mate. If it's Dragon Warrior, a lot of times they don't run first mate.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, this is going to be a really awkward turn for Zerosio here. I mean, he's just going to have to
Armor
gain
up,
2 life.
boys. I guess you can coin Guardian into 5-drop, but yeah, this turn
It's going to be fine, just that turn 2 is the only one that sucks, but Mage is just pinging on turn 2 every time anyways.
Yep, pinging on turn 4 too, it looks like.
So, you played a lot of Reno Mage. Do you like... That slam is weird. Do you like Dragon Warrior against Reno Mage more than Pirate Warrior? Do you think that the increased threat density and the size of the minions is more relevant?
Yes, definitely. There's definitely something to be said for having a deck which can consistently kill before turn 6. But between all the single target removal and, well, yeah, basically just that, Mage usually doesn't have as much of a problem with Pirate.
Oh boy, this is big Dragon Warrior. There's a
yeah,
Ragnaros
Slam is telling a lot. Just that card alone, like cycle like that and Ragnaros, there's got to be the Curator. So this could be problematic. I don't know about using Slam though.
I would. Well, we got rewarded, but I would have definitely fired off the 3d6 every time there.
Yeah, there's plenty of dragons in hand. There's no reason to be too worried about using them.
It almost feels like we're playing Dragon Priest this game because we banned Dragon Priest, but it's just going to be mid-range minions all day, every day.
If only there were Netherspite Historians or operatives.
You can actually War Axe to get some value out of the small time here, and it makes the rest of your turn awkward, but it makes small time better than it's ever going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's probably right to just go for this.
Yeah, just flood before the AoE is the huge
Yeah, well, and
concern.
keep your deck inertia going as well.
Mm-hmm. There's, yeah, the War Axe, the Corruptor, these are technically burst in the hand.
Yeah, you want to save those as well because after Reno, you're going to get more long-term value out of it. That Flame Strike on turn 7 is going to be really devastating, though.
Yeah, but what if Smoked Salmon's at a certain health total at that point? You might be too scared to Flame Strike, but that's probably not going to be an issue because you've got this turn to trade and use a combination of spells.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of frost bolting either the 3/3 or the Drake, and then pinging down the 1/1.
Yeah.
And then you only have one minion to worry about. Your health is pretty safe.
Yeah, and you've got Burgly Bully that directly contests it. Okay, he did go for the...
I think I would ping the 1/1 here, but it's close.
I think you
Just-
ping the 1/1 because there hasn't been a weapon yet, but it's very possible that there could be at any point.
Well, and the spell damage is not really likely to be relevant out of a Dragon Warrior.
Like, you're either committing to ping or flame strike, so when you've got a frozen minion,
And now
one
you can
health
do
either way.
something like War Axe, trade in the small time, and then Korkron the face, or play the 3/6, and that's pretty powerful, and it wouldn't have been enabled if you take out the small time.
Oh, do you trade in the small time?
Well, it's
Just use your
Yeah.
face, right?
yeah, I like getting the value out of the 3/1, right? Because that ping is just threatening to take that away from you at any time. But I can see that as well.
Yeah. The ping's convenient, but what happens with the rest?
Yeah,
Up to
well, I guess
5
the rest of
mana
the hand
at
is
that
just
point.
so awkward.
Yeah. Flame Strike doesn't work. You could ping an axe, but yeah, maybe Reno's just the safest way to go. And you can even blast, but... yeah. So that ended up doing a lot. It's a good thing for Salmon that he's got the Polymorph, because post-Reno, Ragnaros could really ruin your day.
And I actually really like Zeroshio's position here. He's got so many threats, and Reno is gone already. Ice Block hasn't made an appearance. We just have to deal 30 damage with board control and a whole lot of mid-range minions.
Yeah, Flame Strike and Fireland's Portal are great, but they take up the whole turn, and sometimes the Dragon minions are just a little too big.
I think I would have probably Finleyed before doing any of that, and I don't know if I would have gained armor there. I think developing Finley and Nizaz first mate is pretty strong here. But I guess you want to play
Yeah.
around the Flame Strike a little bit?
I guess. For
gonna
these
work out.
one-attack minions.
Yeah, but now Rag is just going to do 8 right to the dome.
It
That's-
seems like a good brag. You really wanted
I-
to go to face.
I have difficulty not playing Rag when I have 8 mana, my opponent has an empty board, and they've already spent Reno and their
Right.
AoE.
Right. Yeah, the Reno's huge. Now there's War Axe and Korkron, so if Rag gets dealt with, you gotta believe that Guardian won't, since Frostbolt and Blast were used.
Yeah.
But it's
This is
Doomsayer
looking
time.
pretty
out
good for Zeroshio here.
Doomsayer time, let's see. No lethal for Zeroshio. Oh! Never mind.
That's
That's lethal.
3/6. That's lethal. Oh,
10
baby.
plus 3
Did you
is
see it?
13. There is a dragon in hand.
All right.
Wow.
1600 dust on the board.
So Reno doesn't always get the job done against mid-range decks, and especially ones that cycle so much and have so many huge threats.
Well, and that illustrates exactly why you want to be playing Dragon Warrior against a Reno Mage, just because their staying power is so much more.
Yeah, it's definitely relevant. You could draw faster hands that would run out of steam sooner. I mean, we saw that in Azat's first mate and everything. It's a very interesting deck. I don't know if it's the most consistent in the world, but I'd be
Yeah.
willing to consider it in the future again.
Well, we're seeing a lot of it, but I agree with you. My experience with it has been either you draw the bottom and you draw the top end, and it always seems to be against the wrong deck. Because that draw there, that Dragon Warrior draw was all 5 drops. You armored up on 2 after playing a small time on 1. Imagine if that was against a faster deck, against a rogue, or against an aggro shaman. You would be dead in the water before anything happened.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so Dragon Warrior gets the win against Reno Mage. Probably would have liked to win that one. So now there's a Mage which could potentially be the Mirror. Well, he keeps it up again and he finds the Shaman, so that's pretty good. This is exactly what you want. But it's mid-Jade Shaman. At least it looks like it.
There's a Devolve, a Jade Spirit, or Jade Lightning, and a Jade Chieftain in hand, so I don't know what else it could be.
Yeah. Mid-Jade Shaman, probably not. you can't really call it control. It's just these things vary so much. I've seen them on ladder. I've seen lists online. Some have trogs and totem golems still. Some cut them completely. There's a
Yeah.
lot of variance in these builds.
There's about 15 really stupid shaman cards that are in every build, and then about 15 other really stupid shaman cards that are different from every build.
As long as they're shaman cards.
And so this has got to be not what Reno Mage wants to see. You just get to Jade all day, every day.
Yeah. If this is one of those cases where if you have the more freeze mage-esque Reno Mage, it does you a lot of favors because you have a much more reliable way of winning the game other than grinding it out in fatigue and value. Because Jades basically counteract that.
It also depends if Bloodlust is anywhere in the list, because if Bloodlust is, that's a real big liability for the Reno Mage.
Yeah, it's a concern. It could pop you by surprise when you're really not ready for it, assuming you even had your ice block up. So I would think you just want to totem as much as possible for the interest of your thing from below, and then just save your coin and things like that for brand turns, maybe.
Yeah,
Just
I don't
refreshment
mind
vendor?
saving the coin. I think so. I mean, what are you looking at here?
I don't think you're really afraid.
Yeah, the proactive play is nice. I mean, what are you going to be playing into here? You do get Jade Lightning here pretty badly, but it's not a bad thing to get that eaten up by a minion instead of going to face.
No. Yeah, Jade Lightning would make a lot of sense.
Spell damage totem, so good.
Yeah, so good. Not even a Spirit Clause. And there's 2 Maelstroms. Like, the spell damage is not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, Maelstrom Portal is kind of a liability in this matchup, but we're still... It might actually be relevant this turn.
Yeah. If you could avoid using the other Jade Lightning, maybe you would. I don't think you'll develop this. I'm not sure what exactly will get developed, but we'll see it when it does. Doomsayer is great to develop. You get to save Hex that way.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Devolve is basically just a master spell.
Yeah.
So we're saving that coin. We're going for a big brand turn. I like that we have the Jade Spirit still in hand, too. We can also coin out Jade Chieftain next turn if we feel like it.
Oh yeah, you could brand Jade Spirit if you manage to hold on to everything for that long.
Or should I say, woohoo!
Woohoo! So, for Smoked Salmon, the Jays are starting to get to the point where they'll be out of reach for AoE. What I've learned playing Reno Mage against these decks is that the sooner you blow Blizzard, the more you're going to regret it down the road. It's a card that you really need to save when the Jades are huge.
Well, and with Doomsayer in hand, Salmon doesn't know it's going to get devolved into next week, but with the Doomsayer in hand, I think you really want to hold on to that Blizzard. You have so few freeze effects, and we don't even know if he runs Frost Nova. What do you think of the Water Elemental here?
A lot of builds don't run Frost Nova. I don't like Frost Nova. But you could just Water Elemental Frostbolt. It's the best way to try and climb back.
Yeah, I think
or
that's reasonable.
You could try Doomsayer too, since Jade Lightnings were used.
There's a lethal on board for the Doomsayer. There's a Jade Claws.
Smoked Salmon disconnect?
I hope so, because otherwise that'd be bad.
Well, I hope Zeroshi will take the full time to rope.
Yeah.
I'm gonna remind him so we don't get a Grim.
He can play his turn, right?
Yeah, he can play it. It's just rope.
Okay, Salmon just came back online. That's
okay,
a shame.
Cool.
I mean, this game was definitely not
anything was better than nothing.
Yeah.
At least Zeroshio's not doing the Grim right now.
No, Zeroshio's a good man. He's a southern gentleman.
A southern gentleman.
Your opponent left.
Yeah. So Zeroshio, the thing from below is you really don't have to be in a rush to get them out. In fact, I don't even know that you need to extend much more beyond this. Like, do you play the Jade Spirit?
Goes
right into Flame Strike.
Yeah, I would have not done anything there or played the 5/5. I don't know if Sam's going to be able to get back in this game.
Yeah, he's got to play something.
I mean, I don't know if he can, like, physically play cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Hearthstone Reconnect service has failed him.
Alright, well, unfortunately, Zeroshio's done what he can to try and get Smoked Salmon back in the game, but yeah, no
Rip.
replay. Alright, so not good for the
unfortunate
Reno Mage. I don't know that that match was going to go... The way things seem to be going, at least, is that Zeroshio's hand was just packed with minions that were going to be hard to clear over and over repeatedly for a Reno deck. Not without Kazakus or anything. Reno's just not that relevant against decks like those.
Yeah, you just build such this snowbally board presence. I would have wanted to be in Zeroshio's shoes every time there.
Yeah, so now Zeroshio has Mage left himself, and honestly, unless Smoked Salmon brought that deck himself, I don't even know, like, what Bring from Smoked Salmon really has an advantage over Reno Mage. I don't think it's what he was thinking about. He's probably thinking about trying to beat Shaman.
Well, he wasn't expecting a priest ban, most likely, because the priest
Probably
there
not.
is...
Smoked Salmon's very outspoken about in his support of the priest class.
Yeah, and the priest, Zeroshio actually banned priest his first week in his win against Cheesy 10. He's only played 3 matches so far. If this turns out to be a win, he'll have won 2 of them against Cheesy and Smoked Salmon, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, really.
But he banned priest against Cheesy as well, so he seems to be aware that that if he's going to bring this control lineup, he wants to eliminate that value-based mid-range deck. And Salmon doesn't really have a lot of options that seem super advantaged against Mage.
No, not really.
And Shaman here, if this is mid-Jade Shaman, it'll work out for Salmon, and it looks like it is. The opening hand before the mulligan is Azure Drake, Think from Below, Aya Blackpaw, and Jade Chieftain. So it looks like we'll
Yeah,
have a
so
ball
these
game
guys-
at least.
They both had really similar thought processes going into this.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like the only difference is the warrior versus the priest, and if it's a control warrior, well, what it was. Dragon Warrior is kind of a mid-rangey build anyways. It felt very similar with how the game played out. It just had the option for early game burst over the consistency.
Yeah. Yep, so Smoked Salmon starts out pretty good. It has Bran and Jade Claws, which you try to get a little bit more out in the matchups where you can afford it. Zeroshio Mulligan, presuming aggro.
Yeah, it's interesting that both players seem to assume aggro and neither player actually had it.
You always gotta assume the worst.
But is aggro really the worst? I mean, you have to mulligan for it. The early turns matter more, I suppose.
Yeah, you just try to have the early things. Oh, Kabbalist Tome. Okay, so Zeroshio's...
He's on the same plane as us with the
some
go
kind
for
of
the value
grindy deal. Yeah, so Kabbalist Tomes, you hope to fuel the Antonize with them. It's relatively likely that you find cheaper ones. 2 Mana Tide Totems, okay.
Do you torch the first Mana Tide here?
I would think so.
Yeah.
You gotta get cards out of your hand anyway for Tome, right? You have 7 in total.
Yep, so if you torch
Now.
here, it sets up a perfect tome next turn.
Yeah, you gotta get rid of it. Or, I mean, you could try to go for the Doomsayer to be even more secure, but maybe it's too much. Too soon. Although, I wonder if Smoked Salmon's playing Devolved. He doesn't seem like he'd be a fan of it. But maybe I don't know.
Really? Okay, so we're going for a pretty
Okay.
early Doomsayer here.
He's going for Leroy. Or the... I was reading the chat.
Yes. Listen, there is never a wrong time for Leroy memes.
So Salmon has 10 cards in hand. I can actually see him counting them right now. One by one.
Gotta do something.
Wait. He had 9 cards. Okay, he just gets the first weapon out there. Just to have it developed, I guess, in case there's something
Yeah.
relatively threatening to... Maybe... I'm not sure what would be threatening enough, but...
And And
And
now
ooze doesn't
Zeroshio
matter.
gets to tome right on time here, and it's going to give him a lot of value going forward. As long as he can play a card a turn, those are some secrets.
Very secretive. So, yeah, it'll be interesting, the order. I hope Zeroshio's noted that Smoked Salmon still hasn't used the coin yet. You gotta be really careful when using Counterspell like that.
Yeah. Well, what I would do here is I would meter out those secrets one at a time so that he keeps having to test for counterspell.
Yeah, that's pretty dirty. Well, Salmon could just coin out the Drake right now. This hand's kind of awkward in that it's so full
Yeah.
and that so many things in it cycle and
Right, you can't play the Manatide here, right? So it's just so
no.
clunky. Does he want to attack Spirit Claw's Manatide? That looks like what he's thinking about.
Yeah, I mean, Spirit Claws would be pretty good. You would assume maybe if there was a news that it might have been used. Spirit Claws is the better weapon in the long run.
Oh man, is he going for it? He's doing something here. He might be playing the second Jade.
Could also just coin a totem.
Yep, or if he's coining out Thalnos.
Okay, well he eliminated the coin, so that's fine. Even if
And-
Thalnos dies, still won't be milling.
This still puts him at risk of milling, just because if you ping the Thalnos and then go into Azure Drake next turn, you're still overdraw.
Ah,
I guess you can. Well, you can play the Spirit Claws. That's what matters. there.
ooh. Dirty Rat's actually very... It can be impactful against a Jade deck. If you can ever pull something like a Jade Chieftain, which are usually saved for last, decides to go with the Mirror Entity and the Counterspell.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that's decent.
I like
Well,
the Counterspell because the Spellbender is really going to be relevant when there's things to hex.
Well, when you go mirror into Spellbender, right? You copy one of their dudes and then Spellbender whatever they try and take.
Mm-hmm. Tested for Vaporize. Oh, it's too bad. If the Thalnos hadn't attacked, he could have killed it.
And now this is going to be a nice cleanup turn for Zeroshio because he gets
Wow.
to torch the 4/4, ping the 1/1, and trade with the O3,
Yeah, it's amazing.
and develop a Spellbender.
Yeah, it's something. To be ahead. Well, you can't be pinging. And
Oh, you're right.
Spellbender.
We're 1 man off. Yep, I miscounted.
So, yeah, and you don't really want to squeeze in Thalnos either. So
Yeah, and I don't think you really want a Dirty Rat here. I mean, I could see
yeah.
the Dirty Rat with the Fireball in hand.
Face. Oh, that seems kind of like a waste
Wow.
of Blizzard.
Or Blizzard? Yeah. I don't know if I would have gone Blizzard there. I think you want to save that for, like you said, well, it does mill, but
There's a rag in this deck. Wow.
oh boy, we've got some greedy decks. I mean, I guess they both had the read on the control lineup.
Mm-hmm. So, just gonna Storm really doesn't like this Drake being around, it seems like.
He's going to Storm. Now, he doesn't get overloaded, if I recall
That-
how this interaction works.
That's a plus. So this Jade Spirit's really good in the long run with both Bran and the Jade Claws to just make a massive Jade board.
Yeah, the game is still, the early turns have not been the way that Salmon wanted them to go, but it almost doesn't matter just because once you get into Fatigue, the threat generation that he'll be able to get going is going to be very difficult for Zeroshio to keep up with, and the Blizzard's already gone. And the Doomsayer's already gone too, right?
Mm.
So yeah, there's not really any AoE left that can deal with anything bigger than a 4/4.
Right. Well, Salmon's been pushing a lot of weapons face. I've seen these decks, they do try to get aggressive at some point.
His draw is pretty clunky. I mean, he gets to start
Yeah.
churning out more Jades next turn, but
What I was wondering about from Salmon last turn was getting Aya out there. I imagine he'd like to get Aya out there soon because to prepare for that Bran Jade Spirit Jade Claws turn, Aya would be very beneficial.
yeah, I wonder what the other plan that he has is there, because I do agree that branding out those giant Jade boards is going to be the way to go, and next turn is probably the Rag turn, I think.
Yeah, I think he really didn't like that Drake. He tried to Lightning Storm it.
Yeah, I don't know, kind of a cavalier use of a Lightning Storm, but I guess Reno Mage is never going to have that big of a board.
He's got Devolve. If there's ever a lot of things on board as a Reno
Yeah.
Mage, then
Yeah, I mean, it's a better use of it than you're going to see otherwise, and his mana isn't being fully utilized anyways. Do you slam Rag here?
7. It got overload from the water speaker.
Oh, never mind. Then we
So it's
slam
just
the
Chieftain.
5/5. Yeah.
What are the Jades at though?
2/2. That's unfortunate.
2/2. So Aya would have been better in terms of accelerating them, but would have been riskier to go just down so easily against.
Yeah,
the
I
Drake.
mean, a Volcanic Potion would have been disastrous.
Well, Zeroshi's got a lot of good stuff in hand. It's just not really meeting the situation yet. I don't think you can ever go too wrong with Emperor. You discount the Spellbender plus the Antonitis, so that if you ever found Arcane Blast or Frostbolt, something, and Emperor is just a good body.
Yeah, I don't see how that's not the play here because you get to set up a lot of really good plays for the following turn.
Tempo Falnos.
That it's basically a shiv to the face.
Yeah. Yeah, so Emperor's certainly dealt with. Yeah, so is this the big J turn? You'd really force a Flame Strike. Oh, okay, he's just gonna do it with Aya, because then that plays around Flame Strike.
Nope.
Or
he's
no,
gonna
okay.
do it. Yep, you had it right.
Oh, never mind. There's 5/5 and 6/6.
Yeah. Oh boy, this is gonna be tough for Zeroshio to deal with.
Would it have been better to leave the Thalnos up and instead swing this Jade Claw into the Azure Drake?
Yeah, I do like that flame more. I didn't. Even
Oh, he
think
does
about
have
that.
Frost Nova.
Yep, he has Frost Nova in the deck here, and
Zeroshio
he's gonna Bran out this this Cabal Courier and hope for something good.
Yeah, Faceless Summer. Prophet Valen was kind of tempting there for a sec. Twilight Darmender. Well,
The Cthulhu is not big enough,
There's-
unfortunately.
he
Come
needs
on,
a
Slim.
cult- he
No
needs a cult-
Cthulhu cards.
He needs a Cult Sorcerer to do some work, and then it would be there.
No Cthulhu cards. I don't
Yeah.
mind ratting here, but that
Rat
devolve
Nova?
is gonna Rat Nova, but that devolve is gonna be brutal.
That's pretty cool, Rat Nova. But there's really no. If there was a Flame Strike, that'd be great.
Yeah,
There's not. Just Nova.
yeah, probably better this way.
Very awkward to have a huge frozen board like this.
That
Okay.
was not.
That was not the
order.
correct sequencing ever. Yeah.
Well
So-
played.
Devolve it. Devolve and see what happens. You leave them with 2/2 drops, a 4 and a 1.
And really, if we don't draw Flame Strike here, Zeroshio needs Flame Strike to be able to not die here.
Whoa! So many things just happened.
That's a devolve, and we've got multiple 2/2s, one of which gets some coins.
Oh,
pretty
you don't
sure
want to
the
give them
Feast is
coins.
Milo.
Wow. Cut person
Yeah.
age.
I mean, if we, I don't know why we wouldn't attack into
The librarian.
I guess keeping the 3/2 up is fine. Oh, he's gonna hex it.
Hexing his own minion.
Wow, he's scared. Oh, the Flame Strike.
Whoa, this Flame Strike's bugged out on my screen. It looks very weird.
Well, it's
Okay,
going
there
to
we
make Salmon bug out.
go. Yeah, so there's this Flame Strike. You can ping with it. You can trade your librarian into the 6/6. So it really didn't matter whether it was going to be
Yeah.
a 2/2 or the librarian that stuck around. You imagine it's trading.
Yeah, the Librarian has to trade. We have to go for a ping here. And then there are any number of really good things that could happen for Zeroshio. And Salmon can play the Aya and the thing from below. Oh, Babbling Book.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting that
just
he's going for the Forbidden Flame as the ping, and he wants the Spellbender to be up so that the Hex gets stolen.
Gets the heals. Okay, well. Feels bad, man, if you're Antonitis. He just saw his beautiful spells go away.
Yeah, but Zeroshio's pretty far ahead here.
Ooh, this did not play around Polymorph Potion. but maybe he lost track and thought it was Ice Block. Well, that's a card for Antonidas.
Yeah, that sure is.
You could just flood with Faceless Summoner though, and oh, hello.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think you probably go Antonidas Roaring Torch here to the face and just set up 2-turn lethal.
Yeah. You saw the Hex get used, so it's pretty... Yeah.
Oh man, does Jinyu even do anything here?
No.
That's a sweep.
Wow. I mean, granted, one was a disconnect,
Yeah,
but that
it was
match wasn't
disconnect.
looking great either.
It's still a disconnect, right? We can't say for sure. It doesn't reflect necessarily on player skill, but Zeroshio's
No.
lineup construction and ban was very strong here. And
Yeah,
the
both
draws
of
worked out
they
in his
had
favor.
similar ideas too, really.
Wow.
Alright.
That's
So
Zeroshio. Good mid-season pickup for 1600 dust.
Well, Salmon's really hoping for the rag hit, otherwise he knows he's got no hope. But it's still gonna be over.
Wow. Not what I expected to happen at all, but props to Zeroshio because he played all these games very well from what I can tell.
Yeah.
Not that Salmon made any major misplays, mind you, except getting disconnected, which not his fault, but still sucks.
Does. Feels bad, man. So that's a huge boon for 1600 dust, who I guess is up 10-5 now.
Yeah, well, we had another match get played, and our Rock Base lost 1-3.
Ah,
So I think we're
There's a decider.
advantaged going into that last match, but there is a decider. It could go either way.
in other
Yeah,
news,
so Rock Base lost. Go
D
ahead.
Lyman's the 1 seed for Entropy now.
Oh boy, that's right, because Phenom and Salmon both lost, so D Lyman is in his rightful throne as the 1 seed, and he can stop Fisher pricing on people for the MVP race.
True. Yeah, he'll have to work for it now. And if he stays there, then we can play week 8. But yeah, that's going to be it. Unfortunate with the disconnect. I don't think that's ever happened on Salty Saturday outside of Gemini versus Grim.
Yeah,
was a classic.
it's a shame. Like it no fault to either player, but it's just unpleasant to watch, right? It just feels so bad. It's frustrating, but
It does.
yeah, nothing
yeah,
nothing we
and
can do
me.
about it except ask Blizzard to have a better reconnect client.
Yeah. It's weird because sometimes you're playing with friends and you try to reconnect on your phone. It doesn't work.
Yeah, there have been times I've gotten disconnected from on my computer and then tried to reconnect on my phone, and it just pretends the game was never played, and they log back in the computer and I lost.
Alrighty. Well, I guess that's going to be it. We had some sweeps, which the night still went long because of that Reno Mage Mirror in the second match. But yeah, pretty good matches otherwise. And yeah, that's going to be it for Salty Saturday. So thanks, Hat, for joining me. And thanks, The Anarchist, for actually providing higher quality insight than either of us at times.
Yep, well done,
Behind the scenes.
Anarchist. Thank you so much for hosting. The 60 FPS looks great, and Slims, thanks for having me on. Any Saturday I can get, which are not very many, I would definitely love to be on more. So,
Well, let me
hope
know.
everyone enjoyed watching, and thank you all for being here.
All right, have a good night. See you next week for week 7.
Bye.
Bye.